Ready? I will say, as we're going into this episode, I logged I watched it today. I logged and I was telling Chris that somebody named Matt gave this movie 1 star. Somebody that I follow, whose name's Matt, gave this a 1 star. So I was very embarrassed to have the same name as that person.
Yeah, and I hope you unfollowed him immediately.
You have entered the PM Entertainment Podcast.
Yeah, you're not on Letterboxd yet, Chris.
I have an account, but I haven't done anything with it.
You're a Letterboxd holdout.
I am. I think it's the rating part that scares me because
I don't rate. Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to rate.
I just log.
Okay.
I don't rate
because I'm always like, I don't know. Everything's a 5-star movie for me, depending on the day. I mean,
right.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of the PM Entertainment Podcast, the show that's getting ready to deck the halls with lots of explosions, eat, drink, and be merry, but we'll remember to take the box off the pizza first, light the lights so we can better see the random roving hockey gang coming to beat us up, go walking in a winter wonderland where we might meet the only bigoted softball team in Los Angeles, and well and truly jingle your damn bells with a roundhouse kick or 38, as we celebrate in a particularly Christmassy way the incredible world of Rick Pepin and Joseph MERHI. I'm talking, of course, about PM Entertainment. Truly, the joy of this, the apparently happiest time of the year. Try telling that to Major Shane Alcott. I'm your host, John Cross, and don't forget, if you like the show, please remember to rate and review us on any of the podcasting platforms you use, share our Facebook or Instagram posts, like, comment, and you can contact us via our email, pmentpod@gmail.com. That's pmentpod@gmail.com, or leave a voicemail at 347-669-0053. And quickly, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to a new podcast find for me called Manic Movie Monday Podcast, hosted by Erin Gilmer. Wow, what a show. I've discovered this show on Instagram, I think, and it is absolutely fantastic. I've listened to, 20, 30 episodes at this point. It's a podcast that celebrates the weird, cult, and the naughty of movie land. They cover all sorts of films, predominantly sort of horror and things, but also they've done musicals and erotic thrillers and all sorts of stuff. They've even interviewed people. They've done some action stuff as well. They've covered stuff like Tough Turf and Hard Ticket to Hawaii and Savage Beach and stuff like that. Normally, action films with sort of a cult or weird or exploitation kind of bent to them, but it's absolutely fantastic. It's a great show. Erin and Hillary are the two main hosts, although Erin sometimes has revolving co-hosts as well. And it is just absolutely fantastic, especially in a realm that is so populated by middle-aged, beardy men such as myself. It is fantastic to have a podcast covering movies that I absolutely adore, hosted by two women who are so eloquent, knowledgeable, funny, interesting, personal, deep. Listen, please, if you haven't heard of them already, please listen to Manic Movie Monday Podcast. Find it on all your podcast platforms and give it a listen. It is just a delight. And also, I wanted to read an email that we got all about Riot, because that seems relevant, as this is the Riot episode. The email came through from Stephen Dunn, or Stephen Doan. I'm not sure how you pronounce your last name, sir, so I hope I am doing it some kind of justice. Anyway, thanks so much for writing. He writes, Dear PM Pod, so pleased to hear you're covering this underrated classic. My own history with this film is a bit embarrassing. Oh, we love embarrassment here, Stephen. Do go on. In 2002, I finally decided to upgrade from video to DVD. My local supermarket is selling players for £65. But wait, for a mere £200, you can buy a DVD player that comes with 20 films, including The Mask, Seven, Red Scorpion, The Wedding Singer, and 16 films you've never heard of. I'm just about to take the cheaper option when I realize that one of these movies features my all-time favorite boxer. So, due to the presence of Sugar Ray Leonard, I ended up getting an ear bashing from my wife, who correctly predicted I wouldn't watch most of those movies. Although it's only been 23 years, so it's possible I could prove her wrong. And that is how Riot became the first film I ever watched on DVD. I don't think that's embarrassing. I think that's awesome. And you were right to do it, because Riot being the first movie you ever saw on DVD, that is legendary. That is phenomenal. In fact, I would feel only let down by every other DVD that I put in my player, unless the very next DVD I put in was Rage. Anyway, he goes on to finish, although if my local video emporium had a better selection in the late 90s, I would no doubt have already seen Riot, would have bought the cheaper player, and wouldn't have copies of The Boy in the Plastic Bubble, The Bride, Death by Temptation, and a dozen other classics clogging up my DVD cabinet. Obviously, I could throw them away, but I'm not going to give my wife the satisfaction. Stephen, tremendous story, fantastic email. Thank you so much for writing in. I do hope you continue listening, and I do hope people follow Stephen's lead and write us emails like that. I'd love to hear, how did you get into PM? What was the first PM film you saw? How did PM Entertainment come into your life? Was it a one and done? Did you watch it once and then suddenly years later you found a podcast talking about it and now maybe you'll delve into more PM Entertainment? Or did the first PM Entertainment film you saw make you a huge PM Entertainment fan, and every time you saw that glorious logo at the beginning of a movie you thought, good, we're in for something exciting today? I want to hear from you guys. I know I've been a little quiet on social media lately. In the lead up to Christmas, my regular day job has been insane. I've also been a little ill, etc., etc. Excuses. Doesn't matter. I will get back on the horse, as they say. But thanks ever so much, Stephen, for writing in. Fantastic story. I want to hear everybody's first experience with PM Entertainment. It is pmentpod@gmail.com. That's PMENTPOD@gmail.com, or leave us a voicemail at 347-669-0053. This week we are escaping from New York, while the Paramount New York backlot that is trying to convince us it's really Los Angeles. Don't worry, it kind of makes sense. With famous boxer Sugar Ray Leonard and the dazzlingly blue-eyed Britkicker Gary Daniels, who is knee-deep in stupid children, kidnapping, extortion, street gangs, hockey gangs, bike gangs, racist softball players, Charles Napier's toupee, and exploding cars in, I believe, PM's only movie set at Christmas. In the words of the Kaiser Chiefs, I predict a riot. It's from 1996. It's directed by Joseph MERHI himself, written by William Applegate and Joseph John Barmettler, from two stipulations that Gary Daniels had. One, that he had to be British, and two, that he wanted it to be set at Christmas. It is shot with rich, lush finesse by Ken Blakey. The stunt superstars on the picture include Rick Avery and Chad Stahelski, coordinated by stunt maestro himself, Spiro Rosatos, and features a blaring gospel rendition of "O Come All Ye Faithful" over the opening credits, arranged by none other than John Gonzalez and performed by Teresa Tudri, who continues to write songs, sing, and perform with her acoustic guitar blues stylings classics, like her protest wake-up call from 2015, Chinese Underwear. Described by Johnny Angel of the LA Weekly as, "Want to talk about undiscovered greatness? Let's discuss Teresa Tudri. Picture a cross between Bette Midler and Bonnie Raitt musically, and toss in the most side-splitting stage patter imaginable, and you have Miss Tudri. The musical comedian is totally engrossing. Make a star out of this woman, will ya?" Well, we are trying, Mr. Angel. We are trying. Our guests this week are both returning champions. One, a dedicated and devoted action fan whose internationally renowned online home of all things that go kaboom or kapow, bulletproofaction.com, started in 2014 and continues to be an indispensable website for the DTV action and general movie fan. It's the brain himself, Chris Kavinsky. Sir, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. And should I say MERHI Christmas?
Oh, he had that one in his back pocket. I love it. That's fantastic. Yes, you should say a MERHI Christmas. And our other guest on this show, is Moxie fanatic of no fixed thigh preference, who is also an author extraordinaire whose latest novel, Mark in Sales, is a blistering powerhouse page-turner of a novel and available now on Amazon. Links will be in the appropriate places. It's Cat Dad and the direct-to-video connoisseur himself, Matt Pereira.
Yes, thank you for having me on. I will say one thing that's nice about having cats instead of kids is that they are not want to put a whole pizza box and all into the oven.
No. They do not bother to cook their own food. They wait for you to provide food for them.
Exactly.
And all cats do is, if you don't provide food for them, is swipe your ankles with like their claws.
Biting's a good technique as well. Yeah.
Yes. Chris, any pets in your household, my friend?
I have a dog named Remo, and he's quite a handful at times.
And what breed is Remo?
He is a Staffy mostly, but he's a mutt. But the Staffy was the DNA, like the dominant.
The dominant one. Oh, fantastic. And I, of course, have 2 dogs. For anyone listening who didn't know that and might care. So yes, tonight we are talking about Riot. It is just an absolutely fantastic movie.
It's the PM Entertainment Bullet Points.
I don't know. This may be a record-breakingly long list of PM Entertainment bullet points. This movie is that impressive, that breathless, and that filled with non-stop action. Let's just see how this goes, shall we? All right, big deep breath. We've got mad rioting, things already on fire, people smashing windows, people knocking other people off the top of cars, people hitting each other, and that's just the first 30 seconds. Epic gospel music over real shots of the riots interspersed with the stunt bonanza PM filmed. Billiard bar rumble against bigoted ball players. Everyone was baseball bat fighting. Kicks, punches, throws, bottles to the face. Multiple repeated lightning-quick boxing punches to fat ginger man's gut. Men thrown through windows. Hockey gang street fight, including referee. Roundhouse kick to the hockey mask. Roundhouse kick to the back of the head. Hockey stick to the hockey mask. Broken hockey stick with foot. Hockey player flipped down into subway stairwell that doesn't exist in Los Angeles at all. Hockey player shoved through a window. Hockey players electrocuted by Christmas lights, complete with ridiculous screaming. Woman shot, kick to the stomach. Man repeatedly shot, turned into a squib sprinkler supreme. Gunfight in church while running. Gary Daniels kicks over oil drum on fire, leaps through fire for real, leaps over hood of car while drum continues to blaze behind him. Car explodes. Gary and girlfriend run away in slow motion while bad guy with bazooka repeatedly blows up cars behind him. Stairwell chase and fight. Kicks, punches. Gary thrown down flight of stairs and kicked in the back. Gary goes toe-to-toe with the motherfucker. Kung fu slaps to the face. Chokehold. Neck snap. Gunfight on the roof. Helicopter hit with rocket launcher. Helicopter goes down hard. Explodes on rooftop. Slides over the side of the roof. Woman hangs several stories up from dangling burning helicopter. Helicopter blows up again, falls to the street, and blows up a third and final time. Sugar Ray Leonard hanging by just a gloved hand off a roof. High fall from rooftop all the way down, splat to the street. Car junkyard cat and mouse sequence. Gary kicks man off bike. Gary runs over cars chased by a bike. Gary leaps and pulls a man off a bike. Gary strangles man with shotgun. Gary shoots a man with shotgun. Gary uses ankle revolver to shoot 2 men. Gary shoots man while doing that roll on the floor move. Gary shoots a man standing by a car, and because of his proximity to a car, he blows up. Gary shoots multiple bad guys with a machine gun. Gary is chased by a giant forklift carrying a burnt-out car. Gary runs away in slow motion from 2 exploding cars. Gary's girlfriend is shot. Gary beats up last bad guy in car graveyard. Gary kung fu fights more bad guys on the street. Random motorcycle gang drive out of a building through the windows. Gary pulls one guy off the back of a motorcycle, hits him with a pipe, sticks pipe into the spokes of another bike, flipping the driver, who flies through multiple windows, breaking each and every one. Gary roundhouse kicks a guy off a bike. Gary grabs hold of some bunting, swings around and kicks 2 more people off a bike. Gary wraps bunting around another motorcyclist's neck, hanging them. Gary picks up random beam of wood and clotheslines 3 bikers. Biker jumps high through flames after Gary. Gary opens car car door, biker flips over the handlebars. Gary runs up the side of a car, does a backflip over the top of a biker. Gary kicks another burning oil drum over, setting another biker on fire. Biker chases him on bike while still on fire. The biker is on fire and still riding while on fire. Gary runs away from flaming biker in slow motion. Biker drives right into two cars. Everything explodes. Gary jumps away from explosion in slow motion. The shootout at the old East Village Bakery in Los Angeles' famous New York district that totally doesn't exist. Gary shoots several bad guys. Fight with main villain's brother. Kicks, punches, coat set on fire. Machine gun to the death. Gary fights the main villain and a few henchmen. Kicks, punches, elbows, arm twists, and neck snaps. Car park car chase. Gary outruns a car. Gary winds up on top of speeding car. Punches driver in the face. Car hits parked car. Gary rolls off down the windshield and the hood. Cars crash into each other as Gary hangs from banner in the ceiling. Man crushed between two cars. More car chase. Gary now has himself a car, but it doesn't have a door. Cars drive off side of parking garage. Gary grabs hold of a hose and swings out as both cars fall to the street and explodes. Gratuitous shirtless Gary Daniels, gratuitous brown waistcoat on Gary Daniels, and gratuitous stereotypical fashion event where Gary Daniels keeps stopping his girlfriend from going on stage. I've got to go lie down. It's epic. But we're going to get into it. But let's start with the plot. I like to hand this over to the guests. Chris, as you are only returning for the second time, you will get the toss. Would you like to do the first half of the movie or the second half of the movie?
I'll do the second half.
All right, then we're going to kick it off with Matt Perea. Matt, take us up to the middle of the movie, and then Chris, you bring it home. What's the plot of this excellent film?
So it's Christmas Eve in LA, and a riot is happening. Kenneth Teagar has let us know that some young men were killed by the police, and so this Paramount backlot is a set of a massive riot that's happening. In the process of this riot, a young woman, two young women models, they're stuck in the riot and they get captured by some gang members. Turns out that they have some other plans for them. But while that's happening, we've got Gary Daniels has come home from, he's like training American soldiers here in the U.S. He comes home to his condo.
Yeah, he's the best SAS major of all time.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
This is way before Jason Statham was a ex, whatever it is.
Right.
Harry Daniels was the first Britkicker to be like the best of something ever. So good that the American military, which is not usual for them at all, admit that at least one person is better than their soldiers, and so has a Brit to come over and train American soldiers. I mean, right there at the beginning, Gary Daniels is pushing his luck with the whole being British thing, because he's like, oh yeah, and have the American general say that I'm the best person ever. Go on, have him say that. Sorry to interrupt, Matt. You carry.
No, it's okay. So while he's working out shirtless, because he's apparently got a workout room in his condo. He's
in his
working out
jeans,
shirtless.
mind you.
His jeans
Yeah,
are-
shirtless. Has to be
just take
shirtless.
the shirt off, keep the jeans on, right? Which does not seem comfortable, but hey, he makes it. It's the '90s, you make it work. Meanwhile, there's a couple. I don't want to say two brats, because I think that's not fair to the sister of the two. The young man is definitely he's a bit of a handful. And while the sister's like, hey, I'll make you a ham sandwich, the young man says, no, I want a pizza. And he throws it into the oven, box and all. Fortunately, Gary Daniels' workout room just happens to be right next door to the kitchen. And as he's doing the bench press, he hears the alarm goes off, goes in, kicks down the door. Luckily they have a fire extinguisher on top of the refrigerator, because they must know this kid must do this kind of thing a lot.
The kid does it all the time. He tried to bake some cereal earlier in the week.
Exactly. So he hoses it down. 2 minutes later, everything's back to normal. The house is apparently fine, because they're back in Gary Daniels' place, and he's feeding the kids Chinese food. I guess he had some leftover Chinese, showing them how to use chopsticks.
No, I feel like he whipped those noodles up. I feel like he was just. I think if there's a deleted scene from Riot, it's him in the kitchen, a la early James Bond. You remember when James Bond used to like to impress a woman, would just whip up like a souffle or something?
Right.
I think he's just like, well, I make Asian food because I'm a kung fu master.
Right.
And
He just made it
so
for
I see that's what plays out in my head. That he, shirtless in the kitchen, is just whipping up some egg noodles.
the wok. He's got the wok fried, right? He's just
He's got the wok going,
noodles
and
and
it's
stuff.
splattering his his hairless nipples in fat or
Right, exactly. But yeah, while he's feeding the kids, he gets a phone call from his buddy Sugar Ray Leonard, who says, "Hey, let's go out to a bar." And Daniels like, "Well, it's going to be a while because I got to deal with these kids." But fortunately, it's PM, so a while is just a snap of the fingers, and they're now at the bar.
But and while let's stop there for a second. I want to take a pulse of this this round table that we've got going on. Who thinks that those kids' parents are dead?
Well, it seemed like there was no dad in the picture. It was just mom, and she was
Okay.
obviously stuck in traffic. What I was most disturbed about, I mean, other than the stupid, I mean, the kid couldn't even open the door. Why? Of course, he's not going to be able to operate the oven, but they're like having Chinese food with what appeared to be orange juice and milk, which that just doesn't seem like a good combination to me.
No, I mean you've got Chinese food, milk, and orange juice. Those kids' stomachs are going to be a tabula rasa all night. It's not going to be pleasant.
Yeah, so they go to the bar.
Sorry, Matt. Matt, you didn't say. Do you think the mother is dead?
Oh no, they mentioned the mother.
They do?
You mean she died in the riot? No. They mentioned the mother. She was coming home late. She was stuck in traffic.
Right, no, but this was the thing: is she's coming home late, right?
Yeah.
That's what they believe. They're like, oh, she's like 2 hours late. But the thing that I hear in my head, and maybe I'm just sick and twisted, is, oh no, she's dead in the riot.
No, because
she is dead in the riot. No,
because PM needed to get rid of those kids, and so the mom comes home offset. But see, the thing is, you don't want to have to cast a mom, right? That's a lot of work to have to.
But that's what I mean, because we never see the mom, and because the rest of the movie, Gary Daniels never goes home.
Right. No, that's it. No,
One must question, why did they need the kids to begin with? Was that another Gary Daniels demand? He wanted to show the softer side of Gary Daniels before he kicked a bunch of ass?
Right.
It's like I've got to work out shirtless, and then I've got to show everybody that I really love children.
Because don't you get the sense when you watch this for the first time, if you've never seen this before, you get the sense that these kids are going to be hanging around the whole movie, right? That
Going to be,
and no, that's it. These kids, I don't even know. I think one of the two doesn't act again. I think the young man doesn't do another role after this.
Probably burned down someplace.
Exactly. Right.
I can't say that he did any acting before this either, man.
Right, exactly.
Or during.
Right.
What's the name of the two kids? What was the little?
What were their names? They don't. Yeah.
Was it Ramsey and Kendra Krull?
Oh, right. I think
they are brother and sister.
Yeah.
Playing Sue and Bobby.
Okay. And so I don't think either of them have done anything again, have they?
Kendra Krull was in a short called Vlog in 2019. She also plays Judy in one of those movies, extreme movie, like one of those parody movies.
Oh, right.
She played Judy in that. And she also comes back in Recoil as Nancy.
Oh, that's right. She was this. Okay, that's right. I think she gets pushed off a cliff, doesn't she?
Yes. Ramsey, her brother, Ramsey Krull, is still working, but mostly in shorts and TV. Not working in shorts like the item of clothing, although I'm sure he has worked in short. This is going to get problematic. But he's still working with movies, short films. There we go. That's better.
What about the big horror movie, Pig Hill? I'm going to put that on my Halloween playlist for next year.
Yes.
So that's what it was. It was the sister that didn't really do anything after, other than Recoil. But it's the brother that kept acting. Okay.
He kept acting. But Kendra did get to work with Gary Daniels one more time in Recoil.
Yeah. Probably when she got pushed off the cliff, she was like, that's it. Any movie that I'm in as a 8-year-old or however old I am, where I get pushed, in a camper, pushed off a cliff, like, I don't know that I need to act ever again. It might have been traumatic. I don't know.
But is it like, so was I the only, I'm just checking, was I the only one who watched that scene and thought, oh, she's definitely dead? No one thought that?
Because the mom comes home and they get rid of the kids. Yeah, that was, because
he would never have went to the bar if the mom never came home.
No, but I like to think that he would, just because Sugar Ray Leonard has called him so many times that he's just like, look, kids, don't go near anything with a box. All right, just avoid boxes in the oven and you'll be fine. And he's left them at home. And while he's out, saving the day and kicking lots of ass, the police go around the house, inform the kids that mum's dead, and
Or to your point earlier, I mean, the kids could have been in the bathroom
Yeah.
after
Right.
the fantastic meal they had. So they're like, well, they'll be occupied for the next couple hours.
he gave
Right.
them the mix of citrus and dairy just so that they were
Drink plenty of fluids. I'll be back.
Citrus, dairy, and soy sauce based foods, right? Like it's
Yes.
just, yeah.
yeah.
That should have been an ad for Coke, right? Because Coke is always talking, not the nose candy, but the actual soda. Because like it's like a whole
I
thing.
don't think they do ads for cocaine.
No, they don't. Right, the other stuff they don't do ads for, but
Depends which state you live in.
Right, except or the dad, right? Or the kid who's like, I learned it by watching you. I guess that seemed like an ad for Coke, even though it was meant to be about parents not doing Coke around their kids, which I still don't know whose parents were doing Coke.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, all parents in the late 70s, early 80s, I think, almost every single one.
Around, yeah.
Do we think that the children are in there as a sort of, well, it's a Christmas movie, so we should have kids?
That makes the most
We
sense.
get a little girl later. I don't think we needed these. I think again, this was a Gary Daniels demand.
Okay.
He
We're gonna throw this
demanded.
at the feet of
He
Dad.
wanted to show that he was great with kids.
Yeah.
Was he married at the time? Was he trying to land a wife here? This is something we should look into.
We should look into maybe, yeah. But also, why do the kids have a framed painting of a hamburger on their wall?
Right. Well, that the other thing I guess is like from the PM, like the every 10 to 15 minutes action. Does the flaming oven count as action because he kicks the door down and stuff? Like, is that why the kids also forgot how to use a door handle?
Right. So it's
Or
like
does
an
they need
incident.
action?
It's like an exciting incident that just breaks up that first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, I wonder if they read the script and it was like exposition or something, like him working out or something, and then he goes to hang out with Sugar Ray Leonard, and they were like, something needs to happen in here. Well, what would happen? I mean, maybe there's like a fire or something. Well, who's setting the fire? Well, maybe there's some kids next door. Okay, all right, we could, they just maybe flashed it. But do we need a mom? No, we can't cast a mom. We don't have the money to cast a mom. It's
I feel like it was a gag, either that or here's another theory. It's a very MERHI Christmas. Joseph MERHI made his bones, as they say, starting up a series of pizza restaurants in Las Vegas. Maybe this was both an inside joke, the pizza in the box, kind of, maybe when this was screened in Vegas, it came up after the kid put the thing in the oven. It came up, don't let your kids put boxed pizzas in the oven. Come on down to MERHI's Pizza and get, what I mean? Like a way to kind of, yeah.
Or even like, what if that actually happened? Like, what if he had the pizza places, right? And you get the box of pizza and you get your leftovers. Maybe some kid had leftover pizza in a box in the fridge and put the whole thing in the oven thinking he could heat it up.
Yeah.
And this was how it translated to PM. Because I mean, that probably would have gotten back to him at some point, right? I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know if the family would have tried to sue, but it might have, he might have found out about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, the interesting theories abound about what you're quite right, Chris, is the most meaningless scene in the whole movie. But it's probably going to provide the most in-depth discussion we have here tonight. So the conspiracy theory around the pointless burnt pizza scene in Riot. Anyway, carry on, Matt, with the plot of the film.
Well, so now we're at the bar, and Sugar Ray Leonard and Gary Daniels are hashing out. We get a little background. We find out why Gary Daniels is here, all that kind of stuff. And then, like you said, the most racist, sexist, homophobic softball team in Southern California shows up. And apparently they play every year on Christmas Eve, which explains why the leader of the group says he's had 3 wives at this point, because I'm sure that any wives that he had enjoyed being left alone on Christmas Eve for a softball game.
I love that he was like, it's lasted 13 years.
Right.
And 3 wives. Yeah.
So he starts giving it, he's saying all kinds of things. I mean, he drops the N-word, which, it's interesting because I think there was a swear that got cut out. I watched for this watch through, I watched the Roku version, and I think there was a swear. at some point. I think they got cut out, but the N word did not get cut out. Neither did the gay slurs, all the kinds of fun language that this baddie uses. And we get the sense that maybe these two guys, Sugar Ray Leonard and Gary Daniels, they got better, bigger fish to fry. They're going to hit the road. They're going to leave these guys. But nope, the guy keeps pushing his luck. And so they decide, well, how can we keep people out of the bar? Because this is a problem, right? You never know who's going to just mosey on into the bar and see a big bar brawl, and then it's a big problem. So they figure we got to close the bar. And they pick up the pool table and block it off, and that's when you get the Donnybrook, right? And it's Sugar Ray Leonard's giving us the boxing stuff, which was still hard for me to watch as a Marvin Hagler fan growing up, but he was still delivering all those punches, and then
he does a Jeff Speakman style rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat punch to the gut. In fact, it's funny. I think when we first talked about Riot, Matt, I was sort of lukewarm on the first half of it and really loved the second half of it. I think this time around, I got a lot more mileage out of this bar fight. And again, to Chris, we were talking before the show, you were saying, some movies are like 5 stars some nights. And I think that sometimes, especially PM Entertainment's action scenes, like martial arts, fisticuffs, fight scenes, not their big stunt scenes, can sometimes be that. Sometimes on the right day, there are 5 out of 5. And sometimes on the wrong day, they're like only a 3 out of 5. Chris, right. What do you think of the softball brawl? The softball brawl.
I love this bar fight. I love the song. I love the hip hop "Joy to the World." If anyone knows what this song is, and if it's out there somewhere, please let us know. I'll put it on my Christmas playlist all day long. Yeah, this is the scene. I think you start this thing, these stupid kids, and it's like, oh, because this was not a movie I saw back in the day. This is one I saw for the first time 2016. I think I just stumbled upon it. I think it was on YouTube. Some kind soul uploaded it to YouTube, and I was like, oh, I've never seen this, and I was just amazed. At first I'm like, but then this bar fight and I'm like, okay. You've got me now, movie. I'm in now. And it just, and obviously, like what you were saying, Matt, the things these gentlemen, they're not, they don't deserve the term gentlemen. These bastards, these things these bastards were saying, you can't say that kind of stuff.
No, you shouldn't say it anyway. Especially considering he offered to buy you a round of drinks.
Right.
Not just the one drink that he accidentally bumped into because you were weirdly coming up very close behind him while you were carrying a beer, which I have to say, if all I do is spin around off my bar stool and go to step off the bar stool and I knock your drink over, I'm sorry, that's 50% on you. I have to say that.
You're too close. You're way too close.
But anyway, that's all he does. Offers to buy the entire softball team a drink. And the big fat ginger guy at the front, who, by the way, people who live in glass houses definitely should not throw stones, as the pasty white ginger fatty that was standing before us. But anyway, that guy, he goes, no, I'm just going to be, I think I'll just be wantonly racist, and I'll see how far that gets me. You know what I mean? Well, like what? It's such a baffling thing, but you are glad it happens because, oh boy, do I want to watch these two crack some skulls and snap some baseball bats and some pool cues, some billiard cues.
Well, and then the classic PM Butner, right, is the guys are kind of all standing near a window, and well, we know at some point they're going through that window, and then when the army shows up to pick them up and says, "Hey, we've got a job for you. We need you." It's the detective from Rage. I can't think of the actor's name, but the detective who shows up at the end to try to take down Gary Daniels.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, he's the major. He's like, boy, you guys look like you had a fun night or whatever. Like, oh.
He immediately believes them. Immediately, he knows they did not start this.
Right, exactly.
He knows instantly when he shows up. He's like, not Major Shane Olcott. He is the greatest of all soldiers. He is so great that the American military have let their guard down just a smidge to let a British guy, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, maybe that's why, because he's... They're like, well, he's blonde-haired and blue-eyed. Anyway, carry on. Yeah.
Well, so now they get taken to the ambassador's mansion where Charles Napier with a beautiful toupee is there. I didn't even recognize. I didn't even know that it was. But it kind of makes sense because when you think of Napier's hair, it's usually not quite as luscious as it is in this role here. So
yeah, I think it's just a central piece. I think it's like a very top.
Yeah, it kind of fills it out a little bit.
I don't think I've ever heard luscious and Charles Napier in the same sentence before this evening. So thank you, Matt.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, it's kind of like that spray stuff. That stuff that you right.
Ron Popeil, yeah.
Right. Yeah, Ron Popeil.
But I think what's wonderful is it's another example like a John Saxon or whoever. It's another example of those B movie DTV staples.
Yeah.
The Napiers of the world, the Saxons of the world. The PM, once you start to like watch a lot of PM, you start to notice, they sprinkle these guys like throughout their filmography, and it's a delight. It's a delight to know that Napier got his bite of the PM apple.
Yes, exactly. Napier, Richard Lynch. Yeah, it's so many of those guys. All but yeah, so Napier and the ambassador, they kind of let Daniels know the score. Hey, these gangbangers. Now we also, I forgot there was that scene with the video or the gangbanger. He's like, I got the bitches, right? He's like, just one motherfucker, and I mean one man. It's like I love how you define what one motherfucker. It's like these white guys aren't going to know what one motherfucker means. So I'm going to say one man, so you understand it. But essentially, one guy unarmed has to go and get bring money. And the money's going to exchange for the two women who.
This is the Escape from New York setup. So the British, the head of the British embassy is the father, right, of one of the models, and
right,
Gary
the one that
Daniels,
used to date Gary Daniels, yeah,
and Gary Daniels, his ex girlfriend, who he wishes was his ex fiance, but it never happened for them, and he has to be dropped in. They say there's a no man's land within the middle of the riot, which I don't even understand that, but okay, there is. We've got to just accept it. And they're going to drop Gary Daniels into no man's land, and he only has 3 hours, 46 minutes. Is that right?
Something like that. Yeah, he's got to get a move on when he gets in there. And the first thing that happens, I mean, the first thing that happens actually is just some guys giving him a hard time as he's walking by, and he ends up like grabbing one of the guys, and then he just like throws him and then walks away. And the guy's like, "Yeah, that's right, you get out of here." It's like kind of
He doesn't want to look like he's been beaten up in front of his group.
Exactly. Now I think the hockey guys come in at this point. Am I right that this is kind of like it's the hockey guys before we get to the showdown?
Before they get to the church, the hockey guys show up. Because and also you've got to think like what a wonderfully rich, diverse, and lunatic no man's land this is. There doesn't seem to be any central leader, but there are like already, and the riot's only been happening a few hours, but already there are roaming gangs of ice hockey players, roaming motorbike gangs. You know what I mean? People have already staked out their turf within this no man's land. Doesn't Harry Johansen, Kenneth Tiger at the beginning say that it just happened this afternoon?
Right, yes, he does, right? It's like,
But you know what? I mean, in their defense, it's Christmas Eve. They were all getting together. Hey, rollerbladers, come on, let's have our rollerblader gang Christmas, and let's have our. They were all just ready to have a nice festive day and evening, and then all hell broke loose, and they're like, the hell, we're getting in on this, and they were all together already. Is what I'm saying.
They were all together because it is when you start to think about it, even for a minute, it's a little bizarre that already. I mean, I understand that everything's on fire because it's a PM entertainment film. Everything has to constantly be ablaze in some way, but the fact it's more just the mentality that people have already broken off into packs. Not only that, but there's the guy we're about to meet, who's already got his headquarters set up in the church and all that. He's got his henchmen already picked out. There's already hench work to be had here in the no man's land of the Christmas Eve riot of '96. Anyway, sorry, Matt, but I need to get that up.
No, well, so the rollerblading hockey gang. I mean, these guys look pretty good. They look like they play in a semi-pro league, which could be, to your point, or like what you were saying, Chris, about like maybe just like the softball guys. Maybe there's a semi-pro hockey tradition.
Christmas Eve is a big, small team sport night. Yeah.
Right. Yes. So Christmas Eve in LA must be somebody who lives in the LA area can maybe tell us, like, maybe call it your hotline and say, like, yes, it's a tradition to play semi-pro sports or rec league sports on Christmas Eve in Southern California.
Yes, if he'd stayed in the no man's land longer than 3 hours and 46 seconds, he would have been attacked by the basketball, volleyball, a lacrosse team.
The volleyballers were on the beach, so they were out of the city. They weren't as nearby. So
right.
Well, this is the difference between PM and Corman's Conquered New Horizons, because Corman would have made sure he got that volleyball team in this movie. They would have maybe a bus. Their bus, the bikinis. Their bus would have gotten stuck in the riot, and so they're all in bikinis out fighting our hero.
What if it became a crossover from the Bikini Summer Girls, from the franchise Bikini Summer 1, 2, and 3? Miami Heat, I think the third one is called. I think it's Bikini Summer, Miami Heat. I think it's That's awesome. I might be wrong about that, but it's something like that. Hello there, John from the future here, just to let you know that it's actually Bikini Summer 3 South Beach Heat. So I was actually off by about 19 miles. So it's actually South Beach Heat, not Miami Heat. But still.
A lot of heat in PM Entertainment. You get LA Heat, Miami Heat. Yeah, they should have had some other city heats. They would have, would have an Albany Heat. That would have been interesting.
Just a lot of policymakers sitting around deciding how they're going to manage New York State.
Right. Omaha Heat. I think that could have been
Yeah.
He was the Paramount backlot. You wouldn't know what he would know. It wasn't Omaha. It wasn't actually Omaha.
No, but we definitely know it's not Los Angeles, because at the end of the movie, they have a shootout in front of the East Village Deli or something. And I'm like, yeah, that wouldn't be in Los Angeles. Anyway, Matt, carry on. Yes, sir.
So I mean, this fight here with the I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's so many great techniques that are used here when he's fighting these rollerbladers. Now I'm trying not to I don't want to get any mixed up with the fights later with the motorcycle guys, because he also uses some similar techniques to get them. But I think it's mostly like, I mean, they trip him. He's trying to run away from him, which I don't think is a good idea to try to run away from people on rollerblades, but he tries to run away. They trip him. They kind of start trying to whack at him. He's dodging, blocking, gets his hands on a stick, starts tripling them as well. I don't know if there's anything, I don't know if I'm going too fast to the electrocution sequence, because I do think the electrocution sequence, for anybody who's put together a Christmas light, I think, Chris, you've got your Christmas lights up. I mean, if they were that volatile, we would have a lot more deaths in our country if the electric Christmas lights.
Yes, talk us through the wonderful screams that these hockey players go as they get electrocuted by just regular bulb Christmas lights.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what the voltage is, but I'm guessing it's not as much as these guys were taking. Had to be a power surge, possibly because of the I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe one of the maybe there's a roving gang of electricians who've been ramping up the voltage in order to take dominance over they're going to blow out all the electricity and then take dominance as the only building with light and heat in the on the grid or whatever. Because everyone's already partnered off and formed gangs and clans and things. There'll be a roaming gang of plumbers soon that'll flood the place. It'll just keep going. Yeah.
Well, to your point, too, about them using a New York set, is that there's a subway entrance that looks exactly like the replica MTA subway entrance. Yeah. And these guys get kicked down into that. So you're either kicked down into this subway going on these stairs, or you're getting electrocuted, which, two names that are doing stunt work in this, Chad Stahelski and Darren Prescott. I wonder if they watched this, like people being thrown downstairs in this movie and thought, John Wick 4, I wonder.
Right, because at one point, Gary Daniels gets thrown down the stairwell, right?
Right, yeah. Exactly. And he kicks a guy down. I mean, it's so, I wonder if they saw all this stair work here and just thought, someday, if we ever get a chance to make our movie, we're going to get the biggest stairwell we possibly can.
We're going to have a 20-minute down the stairs scene.
Right, exactly.
No, and it's funny, actually, the more I watch PM and then the more I watch the John Wick franchise, I was talking to Matt, Chris, over text message, but that Ballerina especially has about 3 or 4 very obvious PM gags in it. I mean, I don't want to spoil Ballerina because everyone should go watch Ballerina right now. Like right now, just stop what you're doing and go watch Ballerina because it's amazing. I think it's better than John Wick 3 and 4, to be honest, but that's just me. The Ballerina, though, there is a sequence in it that PM Entertainment fans will recognize based on the classic opening sequence from No Tomorrow featuring Master P and a certain weapon. I'm not going to say any more than that because I don't want to spoil Ballerina, but Chris, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, absolutely. I was there opening night for Ballerina. I was all amped up about it. Top
So
5 movie for me this year.
Yeah, we've had with Diablo, with Scott Adkins' Diablo and Ballerina, and even a couple of those action ones, Heads of State on Amazon and some of those. It's been a pretty good year for like ridiculous over the top action, which is my favorite kind.
Yeah, and just a ton of action content. Like every month there was at least 1 or 2 that was coming out, and to me, and I've talked to Matt about this has been, to me, one of the best years of just as pure action content. It definitely reminded you of those PM Entertainment heydays where every time you went to the video store, there was a new movie staring at you.
Yeah. And in fact, I think Atkins has had a couple more come out. I think
he had Prisoner of War.
While we've been doing this podcast.
Yeah, he had Prisoner of War. Marco Zaror had another one, Affinity. So yeah, there was Nobody 2. That was fun.
Nobody 2. Just watched that the other night. Absolutely fantastic. I preferred it to the first one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Christopher Lloyd with a Gatling gun. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Christopher Lloyd with a Gatling gun. That should just see, if I had my druthers, every movie would end with a version of that. Like I remember watching Escape Plan, and for most of it being like, this is fine or whatever. It's not quite the Stallone Schwarzenegger matchup that I wanted. And then at the end, Schwarzenegger tears a Gatling gun off a helicopter and just walks along the deck, mowing people down. I'm like, all right, you've got me. Amazing. Like any movie should all have a sequence like that. And I think Fast and Furious 8, I think it is. Is that the one where The Rock breaks out of hospital by using the sheer will of his muscular fortitude to break an arm, an arm brace or whatever? And then he drives an ambulance like off a bridge, jumps out the back of the ambulance, brings down a droid, tears a gun off the bottom of a droid, and then walks out of a tunnel pumping 5 billion rounds into everyone. I'm telling you, that's how every movie should end because it's fantastic. Nobody 2. Yes, definitely in my top.
I gotta see. Yeah, I'm behind on the notes. Now we mentioned Christopher Lloyd. I'm kind of hoping that does he also do a scene where he's got the Gatling gun and somebody's telling him slow down, and he's like yelling get out of here, slow down, get out of here. I don't know if that's sorry. Maybe it's a deep cut from
it's a taxi reference there, everyone. For if you don't know.
No, I like it.
We need to have a sitcom reference in every conversation we ever have, don't we, man?
Yes. I cannot.
You should follow up, Chris, and say thank you for being a friend.
Yes.
Yes. But yeah, this hockey sequence. We're at a point now in the movie where we've only got a little ways in. We've already had a few really good scenes here, but now he's making his way into this big church to confront the baddie.
With his $2 million in his nifty yuppie suitcase.
Oh, that's right. Before he brings the briefcase in, he gets a crazy Grinchy idea to package one of the some of the money up in some newspaper that just happens to be in the area.
Can I say that was the fakest looking money I've ever. This was like they went to the dollar store in the kids section and bought like 10,000 of those packs and just let this. Yeah, it was so clean, and it's like that doesn't look like money.
It's the money that Robert Miano is printing in Guardian Angel.
Yeah.
I was going to say they pulled it from like an old Gunsmoke set, and I was like, I don't know if that would have been on the Paramount, whatever westerns, because my wife watches those westerns on BTV, and it's like they have the fakest money ever, and they didn't care because it was like, it was the old West, of course the money was fake. So
and plus the TVs that was being shown on,
that's true too.
Wasn't giving you the detail that we get in today's modern world.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. There's no like the rabbit ears, like the little band that would kind of come through sometimes with the bad rabbit ears and all that. Yeah, right. You're getting this clear. I guess it's not HD, but it's
it's upscaled at least.
Yeah, exactly. It looks a lot better. Yeah, poor James Arness on Gunsmoke. He wasn't. You get to those later seasons, he was looking like a little rougher. They were able to hide that better back then, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, so he hides some money. He puts it in a tire. He's got it set aside, and then he goes in, and that's when stuff kind of goes bad. I think this is probably about the midway. So I guess like I guess after this is the midway. Does that make sense? Like when the escape happens. But before that, he's got a gun to the back of his head by one of the gang guys. The head gang guy's there, and he's got
Shy Boy.
That's right. His name is Shy Boy. And he brings the women out, and the girlfriend does the one thing that girlfriends should not do in circumstances like this. She lets him know that that they know each other, right. Which tells the baddie like, oh, you know her. Apparently they I wonder if they don't think Die Hard's a Christmas movie, so they've never seen it before. They don't remember how Holly used her maiden name so that Hans would know that they're related when McClane was out there doing his thing. So she let it go. But then the other woman's there, the other young woman's there, the friend, and he's like, well, do you know her? And Daniel goes, no, I don't know her. Blam, that's it. Just boom, there you go. But in the commotion, Daniels is able to like get one of the guys, get the girl, get his girlfriend. He's got the guy, he's holding him hostage, thinking like, okay, this will be enough to get Shy Boy to stop. Nope. Shy Boy starts shooting him. Another guy's got an Uzi, starts hosing him down. And it's kind of a bit of a thing, but he escapes.
He's using the guy as a shield, a human shield. Right. And when he gets shredded up by the Uzi, the number of squibs they've put on this poor guy. I mean, his entire chest is just exploding at one point. And Gary Daniels like shaking him around. And it's one of those death scenes that, because we've seen it now parodied in like Tropic Thunder and other things like that, where someone is covered in squibs. When you go back and watch a movie where the guy like, convulsing while squibs explode, it's difficult not to think of the parody elements. It's a great sequence in the church, though. And I feel like there's that kind of trope, but still becomes a thing. I feel like there are quite a few movies where, especially in sort of either post-apocalyptic and/or where someone's taken over like a church and that's their domain. Why do I think of that as such a...
Cyborg, I think that was a big thing.
Cyborg?
Vince character. He was, because the original version of Cyborg that Pyun did, he was actually supposed to be having his own church, his own cult of Satan or something. But I think that's in a church. It's a few movies like that, I think. Yeah.
But it's great. And it also, for some reason, even though it would come out a couple of years later, it also weirdly reminds me of Strange Days. I don't know why.
Well, it was a strange day in LA.
It's a strange day, right? Exactly.
Right, so that makes sense.
I think this is easier to get than Strange Days. Like, for some reason, that movie's not as easy to get as it should be. You can at least get this on streaming much more easily than Strange Days.
Strange Days is pretty tricky to find. But Riot, on the other hand, you can get it on DVD. You can get it on Blu-ray now from Focus Media, and their website does ship to the US. And you can get it, as you said, on streaming and probably on YouTube still somewhere as well.
Yeah,
probably.
But one thing I want to mention as they're escaping, Daniels decides he's going to torch things behind him, like you were saying, PM. And this is something that I hadn't quite caught before. That when I did this movie last year on my podcast with Todd Liebenow from Forgotten Filmcast, he hadn't seen it before at all. He caught this, that when Daniels kicks the barrel as he's escaping, he's kind of kicking the barrel so he can like set things on fire. It ends up kind of falling in front of him, and he goes through the flame.
He jumps through. It's actually Gary Daniels jumping through a wall of flame. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think that was supposed to happen. I don't think that was but this PM. So yeah, so at this point, I think this is probably the halfway point, because I think we're at the point, I guess, with the helicopter attempted rescue. So Sugar Ray has talked to Napes, and Napes says, hey, I can get you a helicopter if you want. I think that's maybe...
he goes to Napes, and Napes says no.
Right.
And then he says, but, if anyone asks if I have seen you take this helicopter, I'll say no.
That I have the keys. I have the keys to a helicopter. I think this was the first time. I mean, I guess you would assume that a helicopter has keys, but I don't know. You just think a helicopter, you just get in the helicopter.
I just flip the switches.
Right. Like there's
Yeah.
not a key. Like, oh, I've got to unlock. It's not a Ford Tempo. I mean, come on. What's going on? But apparently there are. There are keys to helicopters. Riot taught me something.
Yeah. Look at that right there.
Yeah. But so I guess I think this is about the halfway point, right? Where I'd say this is about there. Yeah, I think we're.
Yes. And I think the only thing we haven't mentioned, but we could also mention it at the end of the episode as well, but is, of course, the Kenneth Tiger, Harry Johansen being the same character as the news reporter in Rage. Obviously now, in Rage, he's trying to make a name for himself. And of course, after Rage, he's now got the top network gig. But we begin the movie with a beautiful Johansson like news-based soliloquy that gets us up to speed as to what happened to cause the riot. And then we end the movie with a wonderful Johansson, Kenneth Tiger soliloquy. And throughout, we hear him on TVs and radios throughout the movie as a little Greek chorus in the background.
I like that he pointed out that the electronics store that was being looted is the very electronics store he bought his TV and VCR at.
One of my favorite.
Really making it like, oh, Harry's just like us. We went to that store too.
Harry has a TV and a VCR. Harry is living a modern existence in 1996. He's up to the minute. Well, appropriately enough, as we were just talking about Kenneth Tiger's character in Riot, the wonderful Harry Johansen, we have a conversation with Kenneth Tiger right now. We just kind of briefly go over just his time with PM. It's just sort of a general, quick conversation. Then we have an interview with the writer, William Applegate Jr., who co-wrote this film. And we have some stories about how he got working with PM and a little bit on Riot. And then lastly, in this little interview section in the middle of the show, we have a very quick story from Spiro Rosatos about the stunts at the end of Riot. So a good, nice, filled cross-section of interviews now in the middle of this episode. Hope you're having a very merry Christmas. And don't forget, if you're enjoying it, rate and review us wherever it is possible to rate and review this podcast. And you can always reach out to us and email us at pmentpod@gmail.com. That's pmentpod@gmail.com. Or call us at 347-669-0053. But please, if you see us on social media, share, like, comment, all that stuff. It really, really, really helps. And I hate having to constantly say it. Thanks ever so much. And here we go with our trio of interviews. You did two films sort of back to back with them initially as the same character, Harry Johansen, in Rage and Riot, both with Gary Daniels as the lead. Were you aware of PM Entertainment? How did you first kind of come within the fold?
I've never heard of them.
PM?
No,
Okay.
I've never heard of them. My agent sent me off to audition for this. Joe MERHI came out and said, "Yeah, we want you to do this." And all of a sudden, there I was in the middle of the PM world, and it was great fun.
Yeah, you worked with Gillian McWhirter, who we had on the show. Talk a little bit about, this was in Rage, obviously. She's your camera person, and
Right.
and you're the reporter who's sort of, on the last legs of his career. If this doesn't work out, then, your boss is about to get rid of you. But talk a little bit about working with her, and talk a little bit about sort of I know PM shot very quickly. I know that they didn't do many takes or anything like that, but talk a little about the sort of the PM method as well.
Well, to a certain extent, it's hard to talk about that because it shot so quickly and there was so much going on that in some ways for me, they all sort of blur into one movie.
Right.
You'd go in, well, what am I doing today? Oh, we're doing. I mean, Rage was a little bit different because we were out on location a lot on that.
Yeah.
It
And you're
took
all through that film. I mean,
I'm all
that's
the way through that.
a really
And
main part in that one.
and Riot, I think that it's much more. I don't remember going out as much, and
No.
um, some of the others we went out on location. Little Bigfoot, we went out, but they went rather quickly, and I think that that's what gave them a certain amount of energy. You always felt as if you were flying by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
And working with Jillian was lovely. She was a really lovely person, and we had good fun together, traveling around. Though I don't remember a lot of specifics about the movie, except for the end. Uh, the scripts were, if I remember correctly, all there when we started shooting.
Yeah.
It wasn't as if it was all being put together on the fly. But they weren't high literary quality scripts. They were things that regular dialogue, and we could do it, but every once in a while we would think, well, what about this or what about that? And I remember the end of the movie. I don't remember what brought it about. I think I've got a very long speech at the end of the movie, sort of tying it all together. And if I remember correctly, Joe said to me, why don't you tinker with this and see if you can make it better? And I basically, if I remember correctly, I wrote much of that speech
Yeah.
myself, just trying to tie the movie together at the very end. And I remember sitting, I think there was a carousel nearby. And I remember just sort of sitting there.
Yes, it's a big indoor mall, and I think there's like one of those mall carousels in the middle of it. Yes.
And I remember sort of sitting there with a pad and paper writing, what's this movie about? How do we put it together? How do we tie it up, and how do we give it a dramatic ending?
Yeah.
And that was really very interesting. I mean, they gave me the freedom to really try some things out that I'd never done before. And indeed, Joe was interested in having me write for them. He came up with an idea for a movie that he wanted me to star in, never got made, about a man who's driving around Las Vegas. He wanted to shoot it in Las Vegas, driving around Las Vegas with a body in the trunk of the car.
Yeah.
Go and write this movie. And I was not up to it. I mean,
Right.
I have pretensions of grandeur, and I thought I could write, and indeed I've written, some scripts, none of which have been made. But I came up with some ideas, and I went to Joe about them, and he basically just decided he was not going to make this movie with me because I was trying to do something a little bit more literary than he just wanted to do, a chase movie or something like that, a PM movie. And I was trying to, notch it up to the next level. And it was just my idiocy. I didn't understand, well, truly. I mean, I didn't understand the business well enough at that point to understand this is what he's trying to do. This is who he is. This is his MO. This is how he works. I did come up with some scripts for LA Heat as we were shooting that, and I thought some of them were actually rather good. Much. I was much more clever by that time about writing, but none of them ever got made.
No. Yeah, so what's interesting about PM, and obviously I'm doing this sort of the PM Entertainment podcast and covering a lot of them, is that like a lot of genre film, and in fact, like a lot of what Roger Corman had done previously, because I think everyone sort of thinks of PM as sort of a canon follow-on, but actually I think they're much closer to Roger Corman in the sense that they have a very financial eye. Obviously, they're making movies to sell. They're making movies to be on the video
Absolutely.
store shelves. They're making movies that are easily consumable, that you don't have to think about too much, et cetera, et cetera. But like Roger Corman, I think Joe, and you'd have to confirm this, but I think Joe does have, um, an interesting conscience, some interesting opinions, some interesting things that he wants to put in film as well.
Mhm.
So occasionally in PM films, it's never shouted to the cheap seats, but it's in there. There will be some social commentary, some
Yes,
some ideas there, some interest there, some opinions there. And like I say, it's never the full thrust of the thing, but it's in there a little bit. And
sure. I
I
mean, with Rage and Riot, why do people break? How do they break? Why do they go on a rampage? What's the reason behind it? Uh,
Right.
and
Well,
I,
Rage deals with a little bit with the immigration thing, like right at the beginning. It deals a
yeah,
little bit with the southern border conversation. And then Riot is like literally taken from the headlines in terms of
sure,
the LA riots that happened
right.
around Rodney King. So it's both films have sort of a little social commentary in them, even as I say, if it's not the full thrust of it. Also, they're, talking about their scripts and their dialogue, they tend to be very plot focused in terms of, well, we've got this sequence, and this sequence that we've planned. We've got to, however we get our characters from A to B to
That's
C,
right.
we've got to fix those narrative problems. And sometimes the way PM did them was incredibly inventive, and other times completely mind-boggling, baffling.
Well, they had to do them quickly, so sometimes they'd come up with a solution, and sometimes they wouldn't.
Right. But you would go on to work with them several times. You were not only Rage and Riot, but you would obviously be in some of their family movies, Little Bigfoot and
A little
Hollywood
bit, but
Safari.
yeah,
And then the Underground, where you play kind of Jeff Fahey's partner in the first bit of the movie. So you must have, having done Rage and Riot, you must have really enjoyed working with PM to kind of keep coming back, or was it just that they kept nagging you to come back?
no, they didn't have to nag me. I mean, if they'd offer me something, I'd say, "Great, let's
Yeah,
do it," because I love to work.
yeah,
It's lovely when I'm playing one of the big roles, but it's nice to just keep on going.
yeah,
And there's always a challenge. No matter what you do, there's always a challenge.
yeah.
Um, and I like that. And I like to keep busy. And I have no intention of stopping.
Good for you. Good for you. No, I mean it's always the I don't know what phrase people prefer in the industry, but a jobbing actor, a working actor,
Mhm.
someone who is always ready to roll up their sleeves and do the best work, even if it's in a small role. And it's funny as they went later into PM, they often went out to bigger stars. And what's interesting is that I actually much prefer the movies where everyone involved in the movie is on board with the movie rather
Right.
than later on where and, not necessarily naming any names, where certain actors have said subsequently, well, I just did that for the money. I wasn't really into it. And,
Yeah,
da, 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 da. And I go,
exactly.
well, you should turn up to every job, shouldn't you? And do the best you can do regardless of the
Course. I mean,
situation.
again, no names, but I remember one time I was in one of those movies briefly with somebody who had, a bit of a name. He couldn't remember his lines. I
Yeah.
mean, he'd appear on the set and it just wasn't there. Because not because the lines were hard or because he didn't have any memory. He just hadn't worked on it. He hadn't thought
Yeah.
about it. Here I am, shoot me, let's go home.
Yeah.
Give me the money and let's go home. And I was always working for nothing,
Yeah.
They paid me miserably, but I enjoyed the work, and they were very easy to work with. For example, I mean, all of the episodes that I did of LA Heat, a lot of times uh, we were shooting in the summer, and I have a little summer cabin in the Berkshires, and we were shooting in LA, of course. And I wanted to go back to my cabin. And they were really very good. They worked out the shooting schedule for LA Heat so that I would shoot the very last day of one episode and then the very first day of the next episode, and then I could get on a plane, go away for a couple of weeks, come back, and then shoot 2 days like that. And they were very accommodating.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's great. No, and I like that about them. And when I spoke to Joe and Rick, they both seemed, they both just seemed like decent and intelligent and excitable people, the best kind of people you want to kind of work with and talk to.
I had a good time. I liked them both, and there were people that loved the movies. I mean, here is something not from when we were shooting, but after we finished L.A. Heat. This must have been in the spring of 2000. I was in England and Scotland for a while.
Oh,
And I
lovely.
walked into an Indian restaurant in oh, good Lord, what's it on Tyne? Newcastle.
Newcastle. Yeah.
Newcastle on Tyne. And this little place. It was down a flight of steps in a cellar, but Indian food. And I walked in the door. There was nobody there, and the Indian man who owned the restaurant was standing at the door. I walked in, and he looked at me and shouted, "Captain Jensen, Captain Jensen!" And I thought, "Oh my Lord, what
Fantastic.
on earth?" He loved the show,
Yeah.
just loved it. And
Yeah.
it sort of made his day that I'd walked into
Oh.
his restaurant.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. That's amazing that you were recognized from LA Heat in a in an Indian restaurant in Newcastle of all
In
places.
Newcastle. I mean, so that gives you an idea of the spread of PM entertainment.
Yes,
You're
indeed.
you're on the right track.
So, with that ringing endorsement from Harry Johansen himself, we are on the right track, people. And indeed we are, because coming up now, we have our interview with screenwriter William Applegate Jr., who was kind of one of the head screenwriters in sort of the second half of PM's filmmaking decade.
So I mean I think the place for me to start is I was a college student at UCLA, and I just finished my third year, and I'd gotten a job as a production assistant, centered first out of the DGA building on Sunset, for Pauly Shore movie Jury Duty. And OJ had just sort of happened and all that stuff. In fact, I saw the chase from the roof of my dorm room. I saw them before they built the sound wall against the 405, because I was right there on Sunset and the 405.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I got fired off of that because I wouldn't get Pauly Shore. I set up a craft service table, and Pauly Shore asked me if I wanted his autograph, and I said no. And then he got fired the next day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My father at the time was the general manager for KCBS out here, Channel 2.
Okay.
And he had rehired David Sheehan, the country's first television news film critic. And David used to play tennis with Joe MERHI. And so he hooked me up with Joe, and Joe hired me as a second assistant director, which is
Right. I saw that
PA.
credit and I was like, is that a real credit?
It's a PA with a cool title.
Okay, cool.
So my first movie was Last Man Standing, I think. So I was on that, and I was on cloud nine, because it was just amazing. I wanted to work in film. I met Joe Hart, and I really, like, I think I told you before, I mostly work with Joe MERHI, not Rick. Although I knew Rick, as he was in the building. It was Joe's office was on one end, Rick's on the other. George Shamshum, who was the real money operation, was downstairs. So I did that. I did Hologram Man as a second assistant director. And I did it was like The Power Within or something like that. It was
Oh yeah, you did The Power Within with
Bill Zabka, and yeah.
Zabka.
And,
Yeah.
and became very, very good friends with Billy. And we went had New Year's vacations. My last child was born. He sent me a note. So yeah, so that was really great. But then basically I had to go back to college for my senior year, but they told me I'd taken all the English classes I could, and so I would have to stay for 2 more years and only take science and math. And then Joe said, aren't you already doing what you want? And so my parents agreed to let me drop out of school, and I joined them full time. And I wrote a horrible, horrible script because that's what I wanted to do, was be a writer. And some silly action movie that I still have it somewhere. And I gave it to Joe, and he said, we're not going to make this, but I want you to write this next movie with T.J. Roberts, and my friend George Shamshum is going to direct it. And so that's where I started as a writer, and they brought me on full time as a writer. I think Jacobson left pretty soon after that, not too long after that. So right around that time, they brought in Joe Barmiller.
Yeah.
I thought I was the only writer, and then I was alone, but we became pretty good friends. And so we'd collaborate a little bit. He was very much a Rick hire because he was obsessed with aliens and all that stuff. Joe Barmiller was a conspiracy theorist, still is, I'm sure. And so I think Joe brought him on to do Rage, which I think I helped out a little bit with. Silencers, which I helped out a little bit with. Silencers was really initially titled The Men in Black, but then the Men in Black movie came out. But I didn't pay a lot. I just helped out when I could. The next big one was I was driving down the 405 on the way to work because I was living at home with my parents in Calabasas. And so I'd have to drive all the way out to Sun Valley to get to the offices. And I'm driving up the 405, and I'm behind this this flatbed truck that has all of these helium or everything like that. And I thought, what a great action scene this would be if somebody shot at it and they were rolling out, and they're basically bombs that you could fire out, So I went in and I pitched it to Joe, and he started bouncing up and down. And he said, here's the next movie I'm going to do, The Sweeper. Joe Hart had written it. And he said, go rewrite this. So I added that scene with the things running off towards the end onto the freeway. I added the fight on the rooftop where he wraps it around a guy's head and they jumps down. And just sort of like pumped the script up, and I knew CT was on it, and so that I visited the set. That was sort of a go. Before it was a go, though, Joe hired one more person. He hired Karen McCoy, who had a script called Bronze Thrills. And she claimed to be good friends with Quentin Tarantino. And she had the whole thing. She would only write on a typewriter,
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And so, he found her now she ends up being an absolute whack job. So she comes in and she writes one fucking scene that's in the movie. I mean, he gives her a pass at it. She makes a mess out of it, but he keeps the one scene, which is, I'll give you a blowjob if you know the theme song to some breakfast cereal or something like that.
Oh, right. It's later on though, right? It's one of the villains who's saying it.
Yeah, it's I think it's a black woman who delivers it. It's like a prostitute or whatever, and
Right. No, right. Yes. It's the random scene in the middle of the movie that makes some sense. It does push the plot forward a little bit, but
Yeah.
yes, I remember.
But it takes forever, and it was, this is Pulp Fiction that just come out.
Right.
Tarantino's everything for everybody.
Right.
And she claims, it turns out she didn't know him at all. But she was,
Yeah. But she was like, what hasn't Tarantino like referenced yet? Oh, breakfast cereals. Fine.
Yeah.
That's a hooker talking about breakfast cereals. I mean, it's funny because, I think I even commented in the podcast about that scene.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Because it's the scene where you go, oh, look, that's PM trying to do a bit of Tarantino stuff. And
that was all Karen. Yeah, it was all Karen. So what starts here at Sweeper, because I didn't have a lot to do with Sweeper other than write it.
Right.
But CT asked for me to come to set. And so I came to set. And this is one of my idols. I mean, it's C. Thomas fucking Howell, you know?
Yeah.
And he had,
Which one's for you? The Outsiders or Hitcher or what's the big
oh
one?
God, I mean, Hitcher,
The
Soulmate,
Hitchers for
you
me
know,
is
it's not,
yeah.
I know it's not a huge thing, but just, you know, I was born in 72. So my teenage years are the late 80s,
Yeah.
late 80s. And just meeting him, let alone, you know, talk, and we become good friends.
Yeah.
He introduces me to Darren Dalton. There's another Chris, I forget his last name, but you know, everyone's, you know, C. Thomas Howell is going by CT. Darren's going by DD. His other friend is CD. You know, everyone's doing that weird stuff. But, you know, I'd sit in his trailer and, you know, he'd want me to rewrite stuff. And so I rewrite it. So we become really sort of close. And so that movie is, you know, whatever it is.
Well, don't sell it short. It's great. People love The Sweeper.
No. It's a good movie, but you know, I you know was on set for a lot of those crazy stunts, and they do crazy stuff. Like I remember having to be as a second assistant director on some of these, where they're doing stunts on the Vincent Thomas Bridge. I mean, they're pipe ramping cars and things like that, and I'm holding on to a net on the other end in case the car slides. I'm not qualified to do this, you know, at all. You know, and why am I doing this? Well, in case it goes out of control. I said, what am I supposed to do? Stop it?
Right.
So it was all sorts
Yes,
of
Bill, that's exactly what you meant to do for $20 a day or whatever they were.
exactly. It's less than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so really on Sweeper, it wasn't long after that well, no, I'm jumping too far ahead. So that's there. CT wants to direct, so he starts, you know, I'm going to do that. I'll add this one on Riot. My father, who I said was running CBS at the time, gifted all that footage of the actual riots from '93
Right.
from KCBS, so that's where all that was. But again, I didn't have a lot to do with that one, other than you know, a couple of scenes maybe, but and giving the footage. But I think I'm credited on it.
Yeah, the only thing I was interested about Riot was in one of the interviews on the disc on the Blu-ray, Gary Daniels talks about the fact that, and you know, he'd been with PM for a while at that point. He'd done, you know, hood roles for them and bad guy roles and sidekick roles, and he was finally doing.
Is he like an SAS agent in that thing?
Yeah, so he was the one. Well, he claims he was the one. He said, "I have two stipulations if I'm going to make another PM film. I want to be an English character," because he'd never been an English character. Although everyone who's a fan of Gary Daniels is like, Gary, you don't do any other accents, so we just assumed you're English in every movie. It's like,
He insisted on being an SAS agent.
yeah, he wanted to be an English guy, and he wanted it set at Christmas. Those were his two stipulations.
Yeah.
And I was interested, therefore, because obviously at a certain point in the middle of Riot, and you know, you walk on dangerous territory, especially at that time, because these are things that are pulled out of the headlines rather than
It's only the riots are only like 3 years, 3 years away. Yeah.
right. And necessarily they're not. It's not like, yeah, there's a bit of Escape from New York in there, but essentially a lot of the storyline is ripped from the headlines.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, therefore, that in the middle of the movie, I don't know whether this was intentional to kind of move away from maybe some of the more racial stuff, or whether this was because Gary said he wanted to be an English character, it set itself up for this. But obviously in the middle of the movie, the IRA then become the antagonists rather than the gang, right? The African-American gang. So, and it turns out that the gang has been in the employ of the IRA the whole time. And what's good about that is it allows it to continue being political without it being quite so
yeah, because you're not. Yeah, I mean, you move a little bit away from the race thing, and you're not moving into the Arab thing,
right.
It wasn't a thing at the time. But
right.
I mean, the IRA is like the last safe, probably terrorist organization you can. I think, John, around that time, and I don't know how many scripts you read, but it was around that time that Shane Black sold Long Kiss Goodnight.
Right.
And that original script The movie doesn't have it, but the original one, the one that sold on spec for $4 million or whatever, a deep part of the subplot of the Charlie character is that she was a child of her father was British, and the IRA kind of like bombed, killed her father, and that was sort of what drove her into the Secret Service kind of thing. So
Okay. Because what's
I
interesting,
was floating around at that time, and I remember that being a big like influence on a lot of what we were doing at that time.
Okay. So no, I was interested is to, and if you didn't work too much on the script, then maybe you don't remember. But I was just interested what came first, the idea of using the IRA, or Gary saying, "Well, I want to be an English character," and then people going, "Well, who are the English?"
That would have been, it was not mine. That would have been Gary and Joe Bartmiller, who had way more to do with that, with Riot, I think.
Right. Okay.
I
was just interested because
yeah.
All right. So last but most definitely not least, it is this epic quick story from Spiro Rosatos about the very end of that incredible car park chase sequence.
And then Joseph, on the other hand, he was like such a caring business guy. He had this crazy businessman in him and the most caring, loving guy in him at the same time. And I'll never forget, I was about to shoot a shot where a camera operator was hanging off the side of a building, and this car and the stunt guy came flying out, and the explosion happened on the bottom. And Joseph saw that, and he goes, nope, get this guy in. You're not shooting this. He said, there's no way in the world you're hanging him. And I go, but Joseph, he's safety and he's off to the side. The opening with the car coming out can't hit him. He's like 3 feet inside the opening of the parking structure. But when you're looking at it up there, 5 stories up, and you see this guy hanging with the camera, and cars are going to come out and explode and all that. So he said, nope, you're not. And he made the guy come down. So then all of a sudden Joseph walks away, and I sat there and I said, get me that banner. They had banners, with like signs that said, store open in 24 hours or a grand opening, whatever, a banner.
Yeah.
I said, take the stunt guy, put him up there and wrap him in the banner. The operator. So the operator went up there, hung, wrapped the banner around him so you couldn't see that there's a person. You just thought it was a sign that was hanging from the side of the building.
Yeah.
And I shot it anyway with Joseph, and he just went nuts. I shot it anyway and got the shot. If you ever look at it, I forget what it is, but it's Gary Daniels, and he's in a parking structure, and he's about to get hit by a car, and he has to grab a fire hose, and he goes flying out with the car, and they drop, and the car blows up at the bottom. The shot is mostly all done 70% by the one shot of this guy shooting them coming out and panning down to see that it's really nothing down below, no airbag, nothing.
Yeah.
And the stunt guy is falling with the car, and it blows up below him, all in one shot.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
So
yeah,
if you ever see that, that was kind of like a memorable Joseph story. But anyway, I'm good.
So Napier does not want to directly help, as you pointed out. So he's like, well, if you happen to have this set of keys and go to this base and go to spot number 13, this might operate that. And so Sugar Ray does his thing. There's the guard at the gate. He's like, he pulls rank on him and seniority. And that guy's like, okay, sure, take the helicopter. I don't care. Gets there. They get the hell. He gets on but now they have to fight up to the roof. And this is where we get nice stairwell battles. And, when they get up to the roof, though, we find out that Shy Boy, these guys, these gangbangers, they got like army level weaponry. They got rocket launchers. So they blow the shit out of this helicopter and the building eventually. But yeah, they get the thing. Oh, I think we've been hit. You think you guys?
How quickly did Shy Boy, like the riot goes down and Shy Boy just is like, I need a rocket launcher. Guys, gotta have a rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Like that's the first order of business. If a riot goes down in my neighborhood, the first order of business is rocket launcher. Well, we could get you some guns, maybe a few knives. Listen, I've told you, rocket launcher.
Well, there
I
may have
won't
been, like-
accept anything less.
There may have been a roving band of arms dealers as well, like
Right.
capitalizing on the situation. Like they were like a freaking ice cream truck pulling up. The little bell was going on. Like, hey, what do you need? What do you need? You got grenades? You want a rocket launcher?
Yeah. They had Pop Goes the Weasel playing in their little ice cream van style underground weapons.
PM world would make sense, wouldn't it? That you'd get like Don Stroud or somebody pulling up in like this ice cream truck, like busted up ice like van, like a bread truck or something, handing out weapons to people like in the riot. Like that's just...
At the beginning of Guardian Angel, I know it's not an ice cream truck; it's more like a food truck. But at the beginning of Guardian Angel, she's giving Cynthia Rothrock a weapon out of a food truck.
That's right. That's right.
So in PM reality, it really does exist, Matt. It's the thing that exists.
So yeah, the helicopter, he shoots it like in the tail, so it's spinning. He can't get it, so he lands, but it's now hanging precariously off the side of a building. Annalisa, of course, is the first to nearly fall. They get her up, but then old Sugar Ray, he's just hanging there. And I'll tell you what. And then yeah, we still got Shy Boy. He's shooting at the building. And then at one point though, he's just like, ooh, this guy's gonna fall. This guy's gonna fall. This guy's gonna, and he's just watching, like just with bated breath down on the.
Well, it's like because he wore gloves.
Yeah.
Why was he wearing leather gloves?
Does it help with the helicopter piloting? So maybe again, people who listen who are helicopter pilots, that the keys, but also gloves.
Our vast helicopter pilot listener base.
Let us know.
Entertainment Podcast has. Please tell us, is it better to ride either that, or is he just like one of those, like, remember, like, there used to be a thing in the 80s, 90s when classier older men would wear leather gloves to drive their, like,
right,
classic cars.
And again, it was Christmas Eve. Maybe he got that from like his mom sent it to him. He's like, "Oh, these are nice. I'm gonna
put on your leather mittens,
right,
Sugar Ray, to protect your." Oh, maybe he was protecting his $1 million Dukes.
Yeah,
that's true too. They're probably insured by Lloyd's of London, and he needed to keep those things safe.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, hanging by his hand, Gary Daniels gripping onto him as tight as possible. The glove begins to slip.
Yeah. And Sugar Ray giving that performance, the facials that he's giving as he's just hanging there. And Gary didn't. And then like Gary or Shane he's like, Annalisa, pull us up. What? This woman, I'm not being disparaging, but these are two grown men, and you want this one woman, this supermodel, to pull. I mean, she's a supermodel because she's not because she's got superpowers.
Right.
But like 400 pounds total, probably between the two of them, and you're just
at least with Daniels' muscle mass. I mean,
right, and gravity working against you here too.
Right, and a leather glove.
Mm-hmm.
If it was skin on skin, maybe we'd have a chance.
Yeah, as long as nobody's hands were too sweaty, they could have saved Sugar Ray. But yeah, this Sugar Ray can't fly, so he's gone, and we don't have him anymore. But they definitely recycle. I mean, they recycled a lot for LA Heat, but I damn well remember like seeing the one episode where it's like, what? Wait, they're wearing the same exact clothes as. Oh, here we go. We're gonna recycle this for this week's episode of LA Heat. Good on you, PM. Smart.
It's a clever business model. I just wish they'd got to a point where it was ticking over, everyone was making money, and they just kept going. Right. Do you know what I mean? Rather than that extra, rather than that damn Van Damme coming in and blowing the budget up on Inferno.
Yeah. So
Desert, also known as Desert Heat. So they did do Desert Heat, LA Heat, Desert Heat. Miami Heat.
Miami Heat.
There you go.
Pull back. Anyway, yes.
Heat triple feature coming up on the PM Entertainment channel. Yeah, so obviously Shane
Three
is upset.
kinds of heat, surely. That's what it would be called.
Right. Yes, that's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
And isn't that also a movie with
It's a
Ginty in
canon
it?
movie, isn't it?
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah,
there a
Ginty.
Ginty movie
Robert-
called
Yeah.
Three Kinds of Heat?
The charismatic Robert Ginty.
Yes.
I mean, you put Robert Ginty in something and just the personality just comes right off
It
the
does.
screen.
Yeah.
Uh,
Insomniacs have a field day.
it
Anyway.
sucks your personality into the screen, I think. I don't know, to
Yeah.
keep it going. Is this the point then they're in the like parking lot or like the Spiro Rosado's used car sales, I think is what it really was? I just like these are all the cars we're gonna blow up eventually.
Yes, this is while they're trying to escape, and PM has to figure out a way to get rid of the woman because they can't have Gary Daniels like having to drag her around all the time. Yes, this is where they are in and it's a really nicely lit, suspenseful cat and mouse sequence
right.
between the militaristic gang that we find out aren't the gang at all, but I'll let you get to that. And then, but they have this great cat and mouse thing there's a motorbike chase. There's a lot of like shadow play. There's a lot of like hiding behind cars. I really love this sequence. It's again, this movie is one of those that feels a lot like Steel Frontier feels, where you think PM really put time and energy into some of the sequences a little more than usual. Because yes, okay, there is a lot of repetition of the New York set and, just throw another gang at him while he's in this same space and da-da-da-da-da. But by saving that money there, I feel like they're able to give us these few set pieces in other locations. And I think I put this used car lot sequence, maybe not for like out and out stunts, but just for tension building and shots and ideas. I put this in one of my top 5 PM sequences of all time.
And yet that threat before they get to there, after he has to deal with the death of his friend, he spots Brian O'Flaherty and Shy Boy of the IRA, Mr. Patrick Kilpatrick, giving us a wonderful Irish accent. Now he's like, oh no. So yeah, this wasn't just, they're like, oh, was this just a random thing? The street gang happened upon these poor women and they lucked out and this was an ambassador's daughter. And no, this was a calculated plan. That's probably how they had rocket launchers. They probably had old O'Flaherty send them a care package prior to this.
Yes, you're right. You're right. That's
there was no ice cream truck of weapons. It was O'Flaherty's.
It was O'Flaherty. It was a Guinness truck, a roaming Guinness truck that instead of dispensing black ale, it dispensed death in the shape of a rocket launcher. But yeah, so we find out that the gang is working with the IRA. And what I like about this, what I really like about this is whether this was Applegate and Barmettler or whether this was MERHI, obviously, if they're going to do something about the riots and call it Riot and use footage from the LA riots, race has to be part of the discussion in the movie, right? And so that's why they have the characters they have. They have the gangs, but then they also have Sugar Ray, and then they have other stuff going on. And there's commentary from Harry Johansen about it, and they kind of cover that pretty well in the movie. But then also, because Gary Daniels says, well, I want this character to be British, so this becomes his stipulation. Because of that stipulation, they're able to say, well, who are the, natural enemies of the Brits traditionally for the last, few decades? Well, the Irish, of course. But also, we also know that in America, to some extent, the American was on the side of the IRA. I make no political bones either side. So it means that the IRA being in America is not such a long shot. And the idea that the IRA would be the perfect antagonists to a British major like Alcott that Gary Daniels is playing also makes a lot of sense. So what I like is that and again, it's a great example of where stipulations actually provide or guardrails actually provide imagination. So often people want like completely unchecked imagination and just run wild with nonsensical stuff.
Every movie ending with a Gatling gun.
Right, exactly. A Gatling gun is carefully thought out. It's careful. It's a tactical consideration. But no, what I like about it is by saying I want to be British and I want it set at Christmas, it allows them, a certain series of things to happen. And so the fact that the screenwriters and MERHI were able to do that, despite the dodgy accents, as bad as it was. I mean, even the girlfriend, Paige Rowland, her English accent is no better. So, and Gary Daniels' English accent is all over the shop. I don't know why he has a Southern English accent. He has a London nasally kind of Southern English accent, but then says pass and bath and other words like that. And I'm like, that's how an American would say it or how a North English person would say it. It's not how a Southern accent. I would say bath or pass or words like that. And so the fact that, as you can hear in Rage, especially, Gary's vowel sounds are all over the shop. I actually don't think the dodgy accents are too much of a problem. I sort of just was like, well, of course everyone's going to have a rubbish Irish accent. that goes without saying. But and yet funny because most TV, especially cheap TV, is now shot in Ireland. So if PM was still around, maybe they would be making movies in Ireland and finally be able to have some authentic Northern Irish accents. But anyway, yes, the IRA are on the scene. So we've got a whole.
If they were still around today, we could have gotten the O'Flaherty, Alcott like prequel, like their original times they were clashing.
Oh, so like PM Entertainment would do like an Irishman and de-age Gary Daniels and Patrick Kirkpatrick.
Possibly. Or just recast these characters as younger versions of themselves.
I just think you dye Gary Daniels' hair and dye Patrick Kilpatrick's hair and make them wear like short trousers.
I think you would just have to give him a wig. I don't know that Patrick Kilpatrick has much hair left to dye. I'm not
right. No, I know.
Can't remember the last time but yeah. So we get to that parking lot or car lot or wherever. There's a lot of cars. Is all I know. And they're, as he said, cat and mouse, in and out, in and out. Annalisa gets stabbed, and now here he is, Shane Alka, just carrying her around, going door to door, hoping someone will have the compassion on mother freaking Christmas Eve, for God's sake. Let the people, this is like, there's no room. You give them a manger, for Christ's sake. Now listen, I probably just offended somebody by saying manger and then Christ. But anyway, listen. So they go to the Bakers, and Mr. Baker is like, nah, we don't want any trouble here. So just mosey on down, and all the neighbors, they're even worse. They're just like cussing them. But when Mrs. Baker, and this is classic, who runs the household? It's always the missus, isn't it? I don't know. I'm not married. You guys are married. You tell me. Now, listen, that's probably why I'm not married, because I'm like, you're not telling me what to do. But listen, that's another story. We're not here to discuss my personal life. We're here to discuss Riot. But yeah, finally, Mrs. Baker comes and gets him. Can I leave Annalisa here? Because I got Gary Danielsing to do. And to your point, John, he doesn't need this dead weight on his side. So.
But they patch up her knife wound, though, right?
They do, yeah, he does, and that's when the Mr. Baker's like, "Oh, I haven't seen a field dressing like that since Nam." And then they kind of bond over being soldiers. Oh, you're SAS? And then he's like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, you know what? I don't want to know anymore."
That's right. I don't want to know.
I don't want to know. You guys are up to some real high level stuff. I was just a low man on the totem pole, and I like it that way.
Yeah. MERHI is like, we're cutting your speech. What speech? The speech where you recap the entire plot of the movie. We're not having you do that again. We're just going to have you say, listen, I don't need to know. Be on your way, and I will look after your distinctly Aryan-looking girlfriend.
And I do want to point out also the daughter of the Bakers, little daughter Baker, was watching a random Bigfoot cartoon. Does anyone know what that cartoon is?
I don't know.
We need to find that too. We need to know that rap song, and we need to know what this cartoon is. So yeah, we've got he's got no baggage. Now he's on his own. And now, though, he has a confrontation with, was it Tommy O'Flaherty? Was that the brother? I
No,
believe
Brian is the main one, and Patrick is the...
Patrick.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course, Patrick O'Flaherty. So Patrick O'Flaherty, Tommy O'Flaherty is their uncle. And he has nothing to do with this movie. He was at home.
In fact, he has nothing to do with the troubles at all. He wants to stay out of it.
He was
He's
eating some
perfectly
Lucky
happy
Charms.
living next to Protestants. He's got no problems at all.
He was eating some Lucky Charms in Guinness. He didn't want all the milk was over at the Chinese table at Gary Daniels' house. But yeah, so yeah, Patrick O'Flaherty's like, I'm gonna kill you for my brother, but that doesn't work out for him at all. So now, as if though Brian O'Flaherty didn't hate Shane Alcott enough, now Shane has killed his own baby brother.
And this was in the shootout in front of the East Village Delicatessen, or
Right,
whatever
yes.
it's called. And I'm like, nowhere in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, famous East Village.
Yes.
Come on down.
And it's mad because why not? Well, I suppose you don't set it in New York because they'd have no riot footage of New York. So they have to set in LA, but like they couldn't go up to the set dresser and just be like, could you hang a bit of cloth in front of where it says East Village Deli?
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, well, because they do have, I mean, because they have a large Jewish population in LA that have delis, but I think you're right. Like it wouldn't look like an East
It wouldn't
Village.
be called the East Village Deli unless there's a chain of East Village delis.
Yeah.
Like H&H Bagels in the city. Is there an H&H Bagel somewhere else that is still
Like Penn Station subs.
That's
we
what I
don't
was
have
going to say.
we don't have a Penn Station here in Ohio, but we've got Penn Station subs.
right?
Right, I was gonna say, like, yeah, like East Village might be like evoking this idea, like Penn Station is evoking, East Coast subs. Yeah, East Village is evoking,
This
bagels
is like
and
what
wine.
I used to have back in New York.
Right, yeah. That's like-
I left there. I hated those winters. I love it here in LA, but I could still get a slice of New York here at the East Village.
East,
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, to be fair, Santa Monica has a authentic British pub. So if Santa Monica can have an authentic British pub, then LA can have an East Village deli.
You know what else Santa Monica has,
What's
John? Bike cops.
that? Bike. Yes, it does.
I
Yeah.
want you to know I interrupted my Pack Blue watching to be on this program so you can understand the sacrifice I've made to be here to have a Merry Christmas with everyone.
Yes.
But yeah, we get that brother's dead and Brian's pissed off. And then the action, I think we're getting towards do we have the motorcycle guys now?
I think so.
Yeah, he deals with the motorcycle guys. And then to get out of danger, this is where it gets illogical for me. To get out of danger, he goes into the world's most dangerous place, a freaking parking garage.
Yes.
Mm.
Get out of danger. He said, Spiro Rosados, you can do a very tight corners car chase because we can't do a car chase around the New York set because we've already got it all exploded.
Right.
And we're not going to go out in the streets because we've decided for whatever reason that we're filming on the Paramount lot for this one. So you have got to do a car chase within a parking garage. Have at it.
It is the very definition of out of the frying pan into the fire as he gets into this parking garage. And yeah, just an amazing sequence. Yeah, this is where it's like, oh, Spiro, you are a god among men, Spiro.
He really
Rosados.
is.
Like, who conceives these things? And he not only conceives them, pulls them off, makes them happen.
With aplomb, one might say. With fiery aplomb.
Mm.
And I think one of the drivers is Denny Pierce, who joins Spiro Rosados when they do the Fast and Furious movies from Fast 5 on. He's the utility stunt guy, the driving stunt guy. So, Denny Pierce is another name in this movie who goes on to work with Spiro after, and kind of, to make those Fast and Furious movies a lot of what we think of them. I know, Chris, you at Bulletproof, you guys did What If PM did the Fast and Furious,
Right.
and that's that connection. It's Spiro Rosados. After 5, it's Fast 5. Is the ones before that, they don't, and everybody talks about how like the went from like street racing to these big massive adventure things. Well, that's part of it is bringing Spiro Rosados on.
Right.
Yeah, it is, and that's because it's all he knows now is if I get more and more money, I'm going to do
Right.
more and more insane things. So I have pulled up while we've been talking about the insane car chase. I have pulled up the music credits from the end of the movie. So as I said at the beginning, "Oh Come All Ye Faithful," written by the Reverend John Redding, or Reading, arranged by John Gonzalez, who I believe follows the page, because I do see a Jay Gonzalez liking things on the page. So I think John is out there in Facebook land. But he arranged the gospel arrangement, and it was performed, as I said, by Teresa Tudry. And then the next song on the list is Santa's Ghetto Run, written by Levi Davis and John M. Gonzalez. So they wrote the song, and it's performed by LOG. Just L period O period G period. So I don't know what that is.
I think it might be Kenny Loggins.
Okay.
That was his hip hop name.
He was known for movie soundtracks,
Right.
Yeah, he was the LOG.
He was always transforming to something new, right? 'Cause he was doing the soft rock, and then
Loggins and Messina. Then he was Kenny Loggins, and then he had the brief hip hop run as the notorious LOG.
Yes. We obviously have Silent Night, again arranged by John Gonzalez and performed by Andy Suzuki. We have Deck the Halls, performed by the Chris Tedesco Brass Quintet, featuring Henry Newmark on drums and Brad Rabuchin on guitar.
Oh, yeah.
And then Fashion, written and performed by Jim Halfpenny, published by Strong Domino Music. So we've got Gonzalez and Halfpenny. We've got two heavy PM musical hitters in one movie. It's another reason why Riot is a classic, ladies and gentlemen. And then we've got God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, which is a traditional performed by Laurie Halfpenny. Wife, sister, child, who, we don't know. Stephanie Miller, Laura Coleman, and David Coleman. And the original score of the movie was produced, programmed, and performed by Jim Halfpenny. So Gonzalez and Halfpenny working together to make Riot the Christmas miracle that we all know it is.
Yeah, the LOG. That's one thing. It's just that's gonna
eat away at you though, Chris, because I thought I was going to answer your question. I thought I was going to be able, and it was performed by.
Right. I just want to see if I can find it on YouTube. Right. Again, I just want to listen to it on repeat.
Yes.
I want to gather my family around on Christmas Day and say, this is going to be the new Christmas anthem here at our gathering. Everyone gather around, you bastards. Listen now.
If the family has a pool table, you got to watch out, right?
Oh, yeah.
Shove it against the wall.
No one's leaving. You're going to listen to this song.
Right.
Put the pool table by the front door. Yeah, no, we don't. But yeah, so yeah, we get the big thing, and Spiro Rosados doing his thing, which of course ends in spectacular fashion as Brian O'Flaherty flies up. I don't know, they're like 2 or 3 levels up. He flies off the side of the thing down to the street where he roasts like a chestnut on an open fire.
Indeed. And Gary returns home to the baker's house and retrieves his girlfriend.
Something under the tree, yeah.
And leaves them a little something under the tree for their troubles. Yeah, so as the car flies out, Gary Daniels of course, has grabbed hold of a probably one of those string lights. I'm surprised he doesn't
he didn't get
electrocuted. Flies out over the street and is safe, but the O'Flaherty is burnt down below, and then he carries his girlfriend home, and we are out of the movie. It is a breathless.
Well, we
an
get the
absolute
Harry
breath-
Johansen recap.
We
That's
do,
right.
yes. Sorry, yes, we get the Johansson soliloquy. I'm sorry, Kenneth. I didn't mean to
Baby in the manger.
undersell the beauty that is a Harry Johansson.
I mean, he was
Commentary.
like, if he was a newsman, I would trust every word that came out.
Oh,
of him. He was like the
every
Walter
word.
Cronkite of PM Entertainment.
Mhm.
Just a wonderful man. He's just so poignant in what he's saying.
See, I think it would have been really funny. I know he's the police chief in LA Heat, the TV series, but I think he should have been Harry Johansson
Yeah.
in LA Heat. And
Always trying to get a scoop. Like, what are you guys working on? Oh, and yeah, like
he
he's
becomes the
interrupting.
Greek chorus of the series. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, what could have been?
I also think that just they should have dropped what they should have done is when they had Kenneth Tiger there for the day, stood him in front of a green screen and just had him read off another explosion today, another stabbing today, another gunfight today, or whatever. And then in every PM movie, you just cut to Tiger on the TV screen at the end. You know what I mean? That would be such a wonderful running gag for PM films, would be the ever-present Harry Johansson.
Yeah, I watched Ice the other day, the Tracy Lords one, where there's the skating, there's the semi-pro hockey thing, and like the gang or the mob guys show up to get the diamonds from Zach Galligan and Tracy Lords, and they end up just shooting the place up, and these poor guys that are just playing rec hockey are dying. And I would love Ken Tier, like a massacre at the local, it's like
right?
across the street from the Taco Bell.
Local hockey ring. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Decimated by terrorism. Yeah. I just think you just want Johansson in there. Also, we have Addison Randall as part of the cast of this. Addison Randall, who, of course, was so great in Hollowgate, the early City Lights horror film.
Also, he wrote, was it
Shotgun.
The one with Shotgun, and also the one with Malibu, right? Or was that King Ganis who wrote that one? What has Malibu? What was it? Killing Streets or Killing?
The Killing Zone.
Killing Zone, right? Yeah. Where Malibu makes sure all the collars are cut off of his shirt so that they fit him properly. He's got his like dangling cross earring.
Yeah, he's in that. I don't know if he wrote it. He did write it. He wrote the Killing Zone, American Born, Chance, Payback, East LA Warriors, Shotgun, The Last Riders, and LA Wars, which is not a PM Entertainment movie, but sounds like it should be.
Yeah, from what I remember, I think there was like an interview on the Blu-ray release. Basically, when Murdoch was working on a PM movie, he was like, just like, "Hey guys, I want to make this movie. You want to join me?" Yeah. So he was just recruiting PM people to help him out because they're like, "Yeah, we're not doing anything." And I would think that you're these movie people.
Yeah, there are a couple of there are a couple of there are a couple of movies that are made. One that Munchkin went off and did as a director outside of PM, and then a few that Addison Randall did that are basically PM films in all.
I always like Fists of Iron is the Munchkin directed one with Michael Wirth. It is like, yeah, that one. If you told me that was a PM Entertainment movie, I wouldn't. Yeah, sure it is, but it isn't. But it damn well could be.
Right. It just doesn't have the Joseph, Mary, Rick Pepin touch, but it has everything else. So overall opinions on the movie, Matt, let's start with you, sir.
Yeah, I just for a Christmas movie, Christmas PM, this is a fantastic one. It's in terms of the 3 R's, it's probably the third of the 3 R's for me. I still like Rage and Recoil better, but that's like saying I don't know, like a.
Well, it's like asking what's the best album out of Revolver, Sgt. Pepper, and the White Album. Like I couldn't, or what's the best zombie movie out of Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead. Like trying to pick your favorite R out of Rage, Riot, and Recoil. And again, back to Chris's point, any one of them could be the movie you need that day that you need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But what I like about this one is it is the Christmas one. And then, of course, Gary Daniels is great as the hero. I love the stunts. I think one of the ones we were talking about the bike scene where the guy is on fire and you can count it. It's like 3-second increments. It's like 3 seconds cut, 3 seconds cut. So it's like somebody, Paul Volk, whoever was doing the editing, was stitching together because Spiro Rosado says, I want to have a flaming stunt guy riding a motorcycle down the street. And of course, you can only be on fire for so long. So somehow he's putting that together where it's like somebody's editing this to get this whole thing to work that way. Thing of beauty. And it's like, when you watch, whether it's the Fast and Furious movies or you watch the John Wick movies now, it's like you see the DNA from this.
There's the sequence in Ballerina that I don't really want to spoil, but like that pushes it even further.
Right.
And what's funny is this isn't the first time Rosados does like a ridiculous automobile-based fire stunt, because of course the end of Maniac Cop 3, which Spiro does the stunts for, has the Maniac Cop on fire driving a car for like 20 minutes at the end of the movie. So the motorbike sequence in Riot, which is absolutely fantastic, guy gets set on fire while on his motorbike, falls off a little bit, then gets back on the motorbike while still on fire, drives it at Gary Daniels, hits a car explodes. Gary Daniels does the full arms out, fly through the air,
Evan Bacon,
face off John Woo thing, lands on the ground, cyclist is kaput. But yeah, what a great sequence. What a great, fantastic bit.
Yeah. I just, when I think of my top Christmas movies, this one's definitely up there. I think this, obviously we talk about Die Hard.
It's not Christmas till I see a motorbike guy on fire, still trying to drive his motorbike. I mean, I knew motorcyclists were like super into motorbikes. Like they really loved motorbikes. I didn't realize that if you set one on fire, they were like, nope, we're going to continue to try and ride our bikes.
Yeah. I mean,
I would just be on fire. If it was me, I would be on fire.
Right.
That'd be it.
Exactly. I mean, there's other stuff in there where it's like, I mean, he's got this big long, not a 2x4, but like this long, I don't know what it is, like some kind of big long,
like a timber. It was like a timber.
Timber, yeah. And two guys ride through it and get smashed into it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he bulldogs one, or I don't know if it's a bulldog. If the car's not ready, he's like, he opens a car door and, a guy smashes into that. I mean, yeah. And it's like, it's one of those things when you watch like John Wick, or you watch, Fast and Furious, or any of those ones. I mean, even, like the Captain America movies that Spiro Rosado did, or like Venom. It's like they put their stuntmen through a lot, but it's like the stuntmen want to do it. They're excited about the concept of doing it. So it's just such a beautiful thing to see. And yeah, so Riot has that. It's so great.
Chris, overall thoughts, sir?
I think you said it, John. You could tell PM was putting their all into this one. It's like they wanted to make their Christmas classic. Like that was obviously a thing at this point. We had Die Hard, we had Lethal Weapon, we had Die Hard 2. So we had these, like, that's the thing you do. You put an action movie at Christmas and you go balls to the wall, and they damn well did it. I mean, you have, again, this one has, to me, this one, I think I would put a little bit ahead of Recoil. And the only reason I say that, although that Recoil, that beginning, and when that damn car takes out the traffic light, I mean, that's beautiful. But it is the star power. This one has way more star power than Recoil, because you have Gary Daniels, you have Sugar Ray, you have Patrick Kilpatrick, who is an established movie villain. You have the little scene bits with Napier. And of course, you've got Tigar, Mr. Harry Johansen, the greatest newsman in the history of the world. But yeah, so we have this. I just really think you could definitely tell, like, this is a level up for a lot of PM Entertainment movies. And it's in the regular Christmas rotation at this house, and shall be for as long as I'm breathing. Or
yes.
Everything works. Who knows? Again, hopefully I've got multiple DVD copies. I should get the Blu-ray. I really should invest in the Blu-ray. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll treat myself.
Treat yourself, sir. Treat yourself. And a word to the wise, if going on the Focus Media website to buy stuff, because it's shipping internationally, they only have a one shipping fee. So like one shipping fee, it's quite a bit. I think it's like $12 or something, but like it's a single shipping fee. So whether you order 10 things,
order more than one is what you're saying.
Yes. Yes. While you're on there,
if you're going to pay that shipping fee, you may as well make it worth it.
Yes, 100%. What I love about your suggestion, Chris, or what you were saying about Harry Johansen, is now I just want a
Harry Johansen and a Gatling gun.
I want a Harry Johansen, the greatest newsman in the world, like Saturday afternoon TV show, like like an old,
Like
kind
the
of in the vein of sort
Jimmy
of like,
Olsen comic book. Like you
yeah,
get this Harry Johansen spinoff
but
where he's
kind
the
of in the
main
vein
character.
of between Stephen J. Cannell
Yes.
and Dick Wolf, somewhere in there. Right, you have a Harry Johansen, the greatest newsman in the world, and even though it's set in the 90s, it feels like the 50s. You know what I mean? Like they still have all the 50s newsroom patois, but like it's set in the 90s, and PM allows Kenneth Tiger to use action scenes so that they can. So it's kind of LA Heat, but Tiger is the central character, and it's done in a sort of A-Team. No, it's done in a Baywatch Nights type way. Yes.
I was going to suggest Harry Johansen as a bike cop in Santa Monica with a Gatling gun on the side of his bike. That's where my brain was headed, but we're getting into the later hours. Maybe I'm just getting a little slap happy. I don't know.
I wanted Tiger to just walk into a newsroom and be like, "Come on, Smitty, we're going to break this story wide open," or whatever,
The hat with the little square that says press.
Press,
on it,
yeah.
And like Indiana Jones, he keeps losing his hat, but at the last minute, like grabs it. It becomes like a
And his little sidekick has the old camera with the flash bulb, so you get the.
Well, his sidekick would have to be
Was it Julie McWhorter in
Julian
Rage?
McWhorter from Rage. That would have to be his sidekick.
With the ball. That would
Yeah,
be
the
great.
plucky tomboy female photographer.
Yeah, she was kind of a mix of Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah. Well, that's what you want it to be. And then there'll be a whole like McWhorter Tiger, will they, won't they?
Oh yeah. You can
Frizz
carry
on.
that into at least season 3 before they finally consummate that.
The frizz-on between Tiger and McWhorter is red hot, says LA Weekly.
There's got to be a Christmas episode where, as the episodes wind down, they're in a bar just sitting across from each other. Why'd you never get married, Johansson? Well, there was one woman, but with the job. How about you? Nah, I can never find a guy that I could say, but yeah, then they're kind of just looking at, taking the sip, looking
and
over.
then the riot breaks out, and that episode becomes
right.
And he's just, this would add a whole level to it. Johansson is about to propose. So this is right. So season 5 or whatever it was when they ruined Moon. What was it called?
Moonlighting.
But yeah, was it season 5 when they ruined Moonlighting by having the big Sybil Shepherd, Bruce Willis sex scene? Anyway, let's say it's season 5. So we've got season 5 of Harry Johansen, the greatest newsman in the world, right? And much like in Castle, I guess they also got together in Castle. But much like in these previous shows, they've been together, and it's the season has been a little rocky, right? So the producers are like, well, for the final episode, it's going to be Christmas. They're going to get engaged, and it's going to be a Riot tie-in. And so at the beginning of the episode, they're in the bar. It's all twinkly Christmas lights. Everything's great. And he's about to propose. She goes off to the restroom or whatever, and he gets the ring out, and the bartender who's still cleaning glasses is like, "So Harry, you're finally going to make an honest woman out of her, eh?" Whatever it is.
Is that Tommy O'Flaherty as the bartender?
And he's like, "I think so. Yeah, I think so." And she comes out, and just as she comes out, he gets like his pager goes off, and you hear a distant explosion, and he's like, "There's a riot on," what did he say, 4th and Main or whatever? And so he has to beat it down to the no man's land, and she sits there getting steadily drunker while riot happens, and then Harry goes back to her, and at the end, he's going to propose, but maybe he gets all jealous because she's talking to another guy at the bar.
Talking to a softball player.
Yeah. And he's like, "Do you know they're a renowned bigot?"
You want to be wife number 4, baby?
Yeah, right? That would be perfect. And the whole of Harry Johansen, greatest newsman in the world, or whatever, goes away. His world is destroyed. He leaves the news and becomes a PI. And season 6 is just Harry Johansen PI, and then
Harry Johansen Knights.
yeah, after 12 episodes, they decide to pull the plug. They were like, Harry Johansen could never survive the loss of McWhirter as his bubbly, bouncy, tomboy reporter sidekick.
Racist softball player.
She went off with a racist softball. A ginger, no less. A filthy ginger.
Yeah, I like these ideas. This is when I wish I was the head of a studio, but I'm
right.
I'm not.
We did the same at the end of the Sasquatch episode that we just released. We were talking about possible cryptid franchises you could do that I don't understand how Hollywood has not done their cryptid version of like Godzilla versus King Kong or whatever, you know. And I do. I just want PM to still be around because I want Joseph to be sat around being like, all right, what's the next idea? Like they've had 30 years of ideas or whatever. And then us three show up and go, Joseph, we're here to save the studio. We've got ideas galore for PM.
They all revolve around Harry Johansen for some reason, but by God, they're good.
Well, Kenneth Tiger is still alive. We have interviewed Tiger, so Tiger is still out there roaring his best. He could still come back and play Harry Johansen, and McWhirter is still around.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they
And
can
Carlos
have.
McKay is
Sorry?
still making direct-to-video movies. He did he's doing.
Did you
one
say
for
George
Relentless.
Takei?
No, Carlos McKay. George Takei. Yeah, George Takei. We could
I
use too.
thought you said George Takei, and I'm like, Matt, why are you bringing up Takei?
Well, let's see. I don't think we could get Spiro Rosatos for these, but Carlos McKay, I'm sure, would show up and just start like blowing things up, and
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
S. McKay'd be all over that joint.
I mean, Kenneth Tiger. I mean, I think the beginning of every episode would have to have a police car flipping 3 times over him.
Yeah.
Like he's sitting there with his microphone, and the car just goes flying past him.
No, he's in the car,
He's like,
and you see from inside, and he's so used to cars flipping over with him in it now that he's just spinning around, being like, "Oh, not again!" Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah,
That's a professional. He still had his microphone in his hand.
yeah,
I like that.
in his hand. But no, Riot is absolutely fantastic. Gary Daniels, surprising emotional range in this movie.
And he's good with kids, we find out.
Thank God, because I needed to know that about Major Alcott.
Shane Alcott, yeah.
Shane Alcott, yeah.
Greatest SAS soldier of all time.
Yeah.
And great with kids. I mean, he could... He was a catch, ladies. I mean, come on, Annalisa, what were you thinking?
Yeah. Well, she was thinking, how do I maintain this English accent? Is what she was thinking.
well,
She's like, when can I tell him that I'm really American? And this was all just a front.
Tell me you didn't like the poor man's Bronson Pinchot, who was the fashion designer.
Oh, yeah.
That was great. I was just waiting for him to call himself Serge.
We didn't even talk about the flashback where Gary is hanging around at a fashion event.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph was just like, wow, we've got to explain what she does for a living. Why? She's just a tall blonde woman. She can be doing whatever. But he's like, no, we're going to do a whole fashion sequence. Like there should have been an action. There should have been a fight at the fashion event. Gary should have had to have separated, 2 designers from clawing each other's eyes.
Or what was his name? Bobby. Bobby should have been there putting some of the dresses in like an oven and burning them.
Right.
Why was there an oven at this event? We don't know.
It's a whole sequence where Gary is just running after this kid. There's a whole row of ovens, like a whole wall of ovens, and the kid just keeps picking up more and more flammable.
What if we find out that Bobby is like a pyromaniac and he started the whole riot to begin with?
He started the whole riot. He's
then
the
he
one
ran
who
up
gave
like he
the
was
rocket
supposed
launcher to.
On his way home from school, he's like, I think I'll burn something down. I'll burn down the deli or something, the East Side Deli. I'm burning this thing down.
Great Gary Daniels range in this one. I think a much stronger performance than Rage, I think, in terms of the acting chops in this one. I think Sugar Ray's great in it. I understand we lose him halfway through, I think that's a bit of a shame. I don't know that that was necessarily necessary unless they only had the money to afford him for a few days. I don't know. But wonderful that he's there at all. Great barroom fight. And as you said, a well-established villain. Patrick Kilpatrick as the IRA guy. And I even like Shy Boy. I think he's fantastic. So the performances are great. The action is great. Soundtrack, I've got to give a shout out to Halfpenny and Gonzalez, killing it with the soundtrack on this one. And it's funny because sometimes the soundtracks can be the PM downfall because they can have a really great sequence and the soundtrack can be absolutely abysmal. Yet sometimes, and again, and I think this is why I equate it with Steel Frontier. You know, in Steel Frontier, it feels like they've given the composer just that extra bump of time to really like plot out some excellent tracks. And I feel the same way in Riot. I'm not getting that. I'm not getting the, you know, kid on a Casio keyboard vibes as much from Riot that I do in some of the other ones. And I love it when when PM goes, you know, we should have some sort of version of a Christmas carol over the opening credits. It should probably be a blues or a gospel or something like that to go with the whole Riot theme and race theme and everything else like that. And they say, Gonzalez, go away, make it happen. And he finds a singer, and Gonzalez comes up with not one, but like 2 or 3 songs for this soundtrack. Again, Mondo Records, Waxwork, those people out there doing soundtracks to obscure horror movies. Come on, do a couple of PM soundtracks, please, for the love of God, because it would be absolutely fantastic. Imagine sitting the family around your Christmas dinner table and saying, tonight we're going to be listening to, what are we going to be doing? Do Neil Diamond? No, we're going to do, Tony Bennett or Bing Crosby and you go, no, none of those people. We're going to put on the Riot soundtrack. It's Gonzalez and Halfpenny coming at you in 33 1/3 speed. It would be glorious. I would love every minute of it. I thought this was a great soundtrack, just great all around. Ken Blakey's cinematography. In fact, just as I was like zipping through the movie to get to the end credits so I could find out all about
The notorious
LOG, the great LOG. There's one of the last shots of the Baker House, which is obviously like a sort of New York brownstone looking building. But the camera's like panning around. There's a street lamp. Everything's lit, greens, reds, and things like that. The camera pans around. There's smoke billowing across the set. It could be in Lethal Weapon. It could be in Die Hard. It could be. It looks that good, and especially on the Blu-ray now. I have to say, if there's any reason to pick up Riot, because the Blu-rays, Chris, are being taken from prints, not from the negatives. So some prints are better than others. So while all the Blu-rays are great, and I'll take PM on Blu-ray all day long, Riot, whatever print they got to use, absolutely fantastic. Riot looks incredible on Blu-ray. If I can sell it any harder, I'll try. Any favorite scenes we haven't touched on that you want to touch on?
For me, it's the bar fight, and obviously we've covered that and then some.
Yes, indeed. Matt, your favorite scene? Pizza?
No, I think it was pizza. There was a pizza in the end, yeah. But no, I mean the bar fight again for me as well. And I think the hockey fight and the motorcycle guys. I think, and of course that end
the parking
chase.
garage. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. It's just
so good.
You tell Spiro Rosados you can have carte blanche with a parking garage. It's always going to work, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, my favorite scene, probably the motorbike guy on fire. That's probably my favorite scene, is the motorbike on fire, coupled with the parking garage. But yeah, what an absolutely fantastic movie. And I have it in my top 12 currently, but my top 12 was Steel Frontier, Shotgun, Last Man Standing, Art of Dying, Living to Die, Inferno, Rage, Ring of Fire 3, Pure Danger, Executive Target, T-Force, and Riot. Like, I'd be hard-pressed to know which ones to move around to be put in first out of those. I mean, every single one of those movies is an undiluted banger. And so it's very difficult to say where I would put stuff. Steel Frontier and Shotgun still my two favorites for own personal reasons. But Riot, Rage, Ring of Fire 3, T-Force, I mean, I could jug on them all day long. They're all absolutely fantastic movies.
Yeah, I've got Riot as my 11th top PM, but like just looking at the list, it's kind of the same thing for you. Like, oh, where would I move it if I was going to move it up? It's more even not even so because like I have Recoil and Sweeper as my 1 and 2, and Last Man Standing I think is, or no, Zero Tolerance is my number 3, then Last Man Standing, and then just Skyscraper because I love it so much. Which is it's hard for me to like explain why Skyscraper would be above Rage because Rage is my number I think number 6. I can't defend it. So like if somebody was like, why would you have Rage below Skyscraper? I couldn't defend it. And I think, with Riot being 11, it's almost like 1 through 11. They're almost like just a series of A, B, C, D, E, and F. Like they're all like, there's not a lot to separate those ones when you're doing that. So it sounds like it's not so great when I'm putting Riot at 11, but it's like, no, I think anything in my top 15 or 20 PMs are just amazing that I could just watch over and over again.
And outside of the 3 hours, which would be my immediate recommendation of anyone wanting to dip their toe into PM, Rage, Recoil, and Riot, I also want to give a shout out to the Gary Daniels PM film that doesn't get anywhere near as much focus as it should, but which I also really love, and that is Deadly Target from 1994. I do think that Deadly Target really has its moments. I put it at 3.5 next to Riot's like 4.5, but I still think Deadly Target deserves its seat at the table.
Do you put it at 3.5 or 3.5 penny?
3.5. Jim 3.5 penny. Yeah. I don't know who does the soundtrack to Deadly Target. If it's Jim Halfpenny, then yes, I do. There we go then. Any last thoughts on Riot, or we can close the book on this fantastic Christmas movie. And Chris, first of all, a very merry Christmas to you, sir.
Thank you.
And a happy New Year, or a Harry Johansen New Year. That doesn't work, but it does kind of. Pimp what you like. Tell people where they can find you. What's going on in the world of Bulletproof Action and Chris Kavinsky right now?
Well, bulletproofaction.com. You can check that out. I'm always reviewing something over there, sometimes whether I want to or not, but I do review movies on the regular. On the podcast, we've just had some Christmas-themed episodes. We covered Project Shadow Chaser 2, Night Siege, a little new image holiday classic. And then we also have done Gremlins by the time this one is out. And you know what? We're going to have something real big at the end of the month. It's the first annual Golden Butthorn Awards on the Bulletproof Podcast. Oh, if you haven't voted it, that's come and gone, folks. But yeah, check out who wins these coveted, some of the most prestigious awards in all of podcasting. The Golden Butthorns. Love it. Fantastic. And you never know what might come of that. Years ago, when I was doing the Dr. Action of the Kick-Ass Kid podcast, which is the spiritual predecessor, I guess, the PM Entertainment podcast, because we did quite a few PM titles. One year we did the Kick-Ass Action Awards, and we gave best score to Brian Tyler, I think for one of the Expendables movies or maybe one of the Fast and Furious movies. And we put it up. I did a fake plaque and put it up on our Facebook page, tagging Brian Tyler. And Brian Tyler responded, and we ended up having Brian Tyler on the podcast. He was very honored to be named best action score of that particular year. So you never know. The Golden Butthorns may start small, but you might have Brian Tyler knocking at your door anyway. Yeah, I don't know if the winner of the coveted Me So Horny Award will want to come on the podcast, but they might. So we don't know. And that's someone who really likes Japanese brothy soup, right? That's of course. Yes. Horny for miso. So that's fantastic. Matt, I mentioned your new book that's just come out, Mark in Sales. I have my copy. I've started reading it already. It is a page turner. But anyway, give us what's going on in the world of Poria and DTVC podcasts, sir. Yeah, so the site is dtvconnoisseur.blogspot.com. That's where you can find links to everything. So the news book, Mark in Sales, you can get the link there. The podcast as well. The podcast is usually every week
both John and Chris have been on as guests multiple times. They're kind of part of our regular guests that we have on the podcast here. We talk about kind of the best in direct-to-video movies on there, mostly action. So that's why PM comes up a lot. But it tends to be mostly action. But yeah, so definitely check that out on most major podcasts. Actually,
other PM fans, obviously, because PM did a fair share of erotic thrillers themselves. Even when they didn't claim that they did and didn't put their names on it. But Matt and I have a running series of erotic thriller episodes, which are some of my favorite podcasts of all time.
Yeah,
on the DTVC podcast. I'm saying.
Yes, like depending on when this comes out, then Chris was on very recently when we did Diablo, actually talking about best action movies of the year. Because I know I was on your podcast, John. I hadn't seen Diablo yet when you were talking about Diablo.
Yeah, I had to tiptoe around it so I didn't spoil any of the things. I just wanted to sing its praises because it was so good.
Yeah, and that's what we did for a good 2 hours. There were some classic TV tangents here and there, but for the most part, we sang its praises for 2 hours as well. So that's a more recent one, depending on when this one drops, and then depending on when it drops, also you'll be on towards the end of the month, John, where we talk a couple C. Thomas Howell erotic thrillers, going back to the PM date.
Yeah, so it's tied to PM all the way because we've got C. Thomas Howell in them. Joan Severance never did a PM film, I don't think.
Oh no,
I don't think. Yeah. But C. Thomas Howell did his fair share.
Right. Yes, for sure. Yes. And again, my books, Mark and Sales, that's my my most recent one that's come out now. It's about a guy who sells cut rate health insurance and makes a lot of money doing it, but starts to realize
timely, always on the cutting edge.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Ripped from the headlines.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. Exactly. But also, I have a short action novel, Bainbridge, which Chris was nice enough to kind of to spotlight on Bulletproof podcast. But that's kind of gives you a little PM flair. It takes place in the early '90s about a cop on the edge named John Bainbridge. But it's got some PM nods in it. It's got some canon nods, some AIP nods. So it's part comedy, part action, movie. It's about 28,000 words, so it's not a long read. You pick it up on Amazon.
Yeah, finish.
I
have it off in a night.
That's right, Chris. Yeah, right. Chris got a copy. Reads it.
I was like, well, if I'm going to tell other people to buy this book, I damn well should buy this book, shouldn't I?
Yes, I have all of Matt's on a bookshelf.
I saw your Instagram video.
Oh, my Instagram video. Yes,
you are a huge fan of Matt's.
Well, I bought all his albums, so I was caught. Like my most recent of your miscellaneous plumbing fixtures was "Where Our Hearts Can Be a Shambles." So with this past Bandcamp, because you didn't have a new release, I bought the album before that. So so kind of working my way through the back catalog, the John back catalog, or the miscellaneous plumbing fixtures back catalog.
Yes, and I did post on the PM Entertainment Facebook page, but nobody saw it because Facebook has it out for me when I try and promote something that might possibly actually help anybody or make anyone feel joy or might actually help me.
No. You have to post bad AI renderings of action movies that are never going to happen.
Yeah.
And farm the engagement.
And then read the comments and just hate life.
Yes.
Because people are fooled by, this is going to be a good one. No.
What if I con Tiger into recording like 50 introductions to the PM Entertainment podcast, but as Harry Johansen?
Of course.
Who knows? Maybe maybe I'll get Kenneth back on the phone and be like, Ken, I know we did the interview already, but can I have you read this? He'd be like, "You're gonna pay me?" I'd be like, "Nope, damn it." Okay.
Do you have a cameo?
That's why people need to buy your album, so you have this extra cash, so you could pay Kenneth Tigar to do these things.
Yes,
it all works together.
He's a SAG actor, right? You got
right. We don't want him getting in trouble with the union.
Yeah. Right. He was also appeared in the Avengers, of course, as someone who was disappointed with Loki's controlling, possibly fascistic tendencies. As though he stood up and was like, "No, I will not lie down." And
just like Harry Johansen. Harry Johansen wouldn't have stood for that crap.
Wouldn't have stood for Loki waving his scepter around with his big horned hat. He wouldn't have taken that. He was take your horn hat off when you're inside.
Low-key could have been a contender for the Me So Horny Award if we covered Avengers on the podcast, but we didn't do that.
Did not do that. No. And Wings Hauser, but only because Wings Hauser is eligible for every award at all times.
That's true.
Because if you don't have someone to give an award to, give one to Wings Hauser, because he deserved way more when he was alive, and he didn't get any. So posthumously, we should just give Wings Hauser all the awards.
Mm-hmm.
Would Cole accept it in his stead? So you have Cole Hauser.
What is the clip they're going to play for Wings at the In Memoriam if they play one at the Oscars?
L.A. Bounty, where he's being an artist, is what would be my pick.
The hearing.
I would pick the sequence in Blood Money, also known as Killer's Edge, where he just randomly shoots the guy in the hardware store or the pawn shop. When he's in the pawn shop and the guy just comes round the corner and he's interrogating the owner. And a guy just comes around the corner and just, without even blinking, just shoots the guy dead and then goes right back to talking to the guy in the shop. That's I would pick that scene right away. What are they going to do? Are they going to show a clip from Vice Squad? Because it's really like the only one.
I was going to say Vice Squad, yeah, or
no, they'll do The Insider. That's what they'll do because Russell Crowe and Al Pacino were in The Insider, so they'll do The Insider.
Yeah. I think for me, my scene would be after in Art of Dying, after Kathleen Kinmont has shown up on the horse, when he just goes on this big rant about how he's just going to go gay because he doesn't want to be around women anymore. It's just like,
what if they show the clip where he's pouring milk all over Kathleen Kinmont? They're like, the late great Wings House, there's some orchestral music, la la la, and it just cuts, and it's Wings' butt. You just see the close up Wings' butt. It just pans down to the jam and milk strewn floor.
I was gonna say, what was the one that isn't there one where he's in the bathtub?
That's also the same movie, The Art of Dying.
That's the one there. No, there's another one.
Where he's performing, he's being a cunning linguist in the vicinity of Kathleen Kinmont, while also inhaling a lot of bubble bath because she's covered in bubbles. So it'd be like just licking up gobs of washing up liquid.
Oh, Deadly Force is the one I was thinking of.
Oh, right. Okay.
Deadly Force. And I saw it on TV and there's like a bathtub scene and he like jumps out of the tub and I'm like, well, since I saw it on TV, I'm not sure if you saw his wings and his Hauser, but you might if you see the unedited version.
Yeah. Well, you see his Hauser in Art of Dying. You don't see his wings, but you see his Hauser.
Okay.
Or would it be the other way around? You see his wings because that wings are on the back. So his wings, butt, and Hauser's front. What's
and Hauser seems like more like a hose,
right?
So yeah,
yes. But anyway, we digress. Matt, Chris, thank you so much for being part of the very MERHI Christmas PM Entertainment December episode. It has been absolutely fantastic to discuss Riot with you. Best of luck with your various endeavors. And let's have you back on in 2026 to discuss more high-kicking shenanigans.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Yeah, this was a ton of fun. Yeah.
experience.